Chapter 245. The peerlessly beautiful Dongfang Bingling slowly descended from the sky and floated a dozen meters above the ground. When Qin San saw Dongfang Bingling's appearance, his complexion immediately changed. Especially since Dongfang Bingling did not conceal herself at all. She did not even wear a veil, and directly revealed her true face. This represented a dangerous signal. However, after being shocked, Qin San's complexion quickly returned to normal. He took a step forward and bowed. Northwest Qin City's Qin San, Qin Lu, and Qin Chi greet Fairy. Qin San's etiquette was extremely respectful, second only to Qin Wanchou's etiquette. Dongfang Bingling's complexion was still cold as she pointed at Yang Dingtian. "This person belongs to me now," Qin San said humbly. Reporting to Fairy Dongfang, "Military advisor Shun is an important person of my Qin city. The three of us have been ordered to protect him and not leave him even half a step. Therefore, it is difficult for the three of us to comply with Fairy Dongfang's request." After Qin San refused, Dongfang Bingling did not say anything else and directly pulled out her sharp sword. Immediately, Qin San and the others stood in a triangular formation, firmly protecting Yang Dingtian in the middle. Normally, the three of us would not dare to make a move against Fairy Dongfang even if we were to die. However, today, we have been ordered by our lord to protect military advisor Shin Lang. Therefore, if Fairy Dongfang wants to use force, the three of us have no choice but to offend you. Qin San immediately became even more respectful. "I know that Fairy Dongfang is a peerless talent. 10 years later, even if the three of us join forces, we will not be your match. However, today, you are a revered martial artist, and the three of us are all revered martial artists. Therefore, when we make a move later, if we injure Fairy Dongfang, we will die 10,000 deaths." Although Qin San's attitude was humble, his words contained a threat. However, Yang Dingtian also felt that his words were reasonable. Dongfang Bingling was only 20 years old and was already a revered martial artist. This was truly shocking and had not happened in 1,000 years. However, she was still young. Qin Lu and Qin Chi were 2 or 3-star revered martial artists respectively. Qin San was even stronger. During the battle in the desert, Yang Dingtian had seen with his own eyes how powerful Qin San was. Yang Dingtian felt that although Dongfang Bingling was very strong, it was still a bit difficult for her to deal with Qin San alone. With the addition of Qin Lu and Qin Chi, Dongfang Bingling should not be a match for them. "Don't talk nonsense. Do it," Dongfang Bingling said coldly. "Sorry for the offense." Qin San bowed, and then pulled out his sword. He said to Qin Lu and Qin Chi behind him, "Protect military advisor Shen." After that, Qin San suddenly turned into a green light and charged towards Dongfang Bingling, who was in the air. Dongfang Bingling was still floating in the air motionless. A cold light flashed in her hand, and the profound ice soul sword slashed down. In an instant, Qin San's arm that was holding the sword was cut off and sent flying. The wound was completely frozen, and not even blood flowed out. And the body that was charging towards Dongfang Bingling directly fell from the air. Instantly, Yang Dingtian was stunned. Not only Yang Dingtian, Qin San, and the rest were also stunned. Yang Dingtian knew of Qin San's prowess. He felt that Dongfang Bingling would at most be on par with Qin San. But he didn't expect that Dongfang Bingling would be able to instantly kill him in a single move. Qin San didn't even have the strength to retaliate. "Old Lu, old Qi, quickly take military advisor away." Qin San was horrified and shouted loudly. Then he bit his tongue and spat out a cloud of blood. Using an evil technique, he increased his cultivation by several folds and rushed towards Dongfang Bingling. Qin Lu and Qin Chi each held onto Yang Dingtian and escaped at full speed. "Dongfang Bingling, let's perish together," Qin San roared. Instantly blood spurted out from his body, and his body expanded rapidly. He pounced towards Dongfang Bingling, wanting to self-explode. Qin San was fast, but Dongfang Bingling was even faster. It was as if he had teleported, and in the blink of an eye, he was in front of Qin San. Before Qin San could self-explode, Dongfang Bingling directly pierced his chest with his sword. Instantly, a terrifying icy energy froze Qin San's body completely, and he became motionless. Dongfang Bingling's hand shook lightly, and Qin San's frozen body suddenly exploded, shattering into pieces and turning into ice cubes all over the ground. Third brother. Qin Lu and Qin Qi exclaimed. Young Dingtian was completely stunned by Dongfang Bingling's sharp killing method. He knew how powerful Dongfang Bingling was, but he didn't expect that Dongfang Bingling's true strength was far beyond his imagination. After killing Qin San, Dongfang Bingling didn't stop at all, and directly chased after Yang Dingtian. Qin Lu and Qin Qi's speed was very fast, but compared to Dongfang Bingling's speed, it was nothing. As if Dongfang Bingling really teleported, the distance between the two of them changed from more than 1,000 meters to tens of meters in just a few seconds. Qin Lu and Qin Qi raised their swords and suddenly shouted at Yang Dingtian, "Mr. Shen Go! Remember, His Majesty thinks highly of you. Don't let His Majesty down." Then, the two of them suddenly rushed towards that woman. Qin Lu and Qin Qi's roar woke Yang Dingtian up. He stomped on the ground and directly shot into the sky. Then, he floated in the air, flying towards the west with all his might. Using the empty spirit mystic wings and the dragon dance's ninth heaven mystic technique, he desperately rose into the air, flying higher and higher. Using his mystic qi to the extreme, he raised his speed to the extreme, flying crazily, desperately escaping from Dongfang Bingling. In the air, Yang Dingtian still couldn't help but turn his head to look at Qin Lu and Qin Qi. He only saw that Dongfang Bingling continued to rush forward, and the sword in her hand swung. Instantly, the air instantly froze. An incomparably powerful ice-cold energy instantly sealed Qin Lu and Qin Qi in ice. Then, that woman's figure suddenly flashed, and she directly passed between Qin Lu and Qin Qi. A light flashed, and Qin Lu and Qin Qi's two heads flew into the sky. Seeing this tragic scene, Yang Dingtian, who was in the air, was completely stunned. He didn't have any relationship with Qin San, Qin Lu, Qin Qi, and Yang Dingtian. Just now, in order to interrogate Yang Dingtian, Qin San even tortured Yang Dingtian. Moreover, these three people were completely loyal to Qin Wancho's orders to protect Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian could even feel that these three people still had a faint hostility towards him. But it was also these three people who, in order to protect him, died in front of him alive. Therefore, Yang Dingtian still couldn't help but tear up, and he almost couldn't hold back his tears. Then, he continued to desperately fly in the air to escape. However, at this moment, after Dongfang Bingling killed Qin Lu and Qin Qi, she stood in the same spot and raised her beautiful face to look at Yang Dingtian in the air. Seeing that she didn't chase after him, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but sigh in relief. However, it was obvious that he was happy too early. A pair of beautiful transparent wings suddenly grew out from her back, and she suddenly flew into the air, chasing after Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian's flying speed was already considered very fast, but Dongfang Bingling's speed was completely like a shooting star. In just a few seconds, she was already in front of him. Chapter 246. In the next second, Yang Dingtian felt a chill at the back of his neck. He was grabbed by Dongfang Bingling's hand. Instantly, all the profound qi in his body was locked. It was as if half of his body was frozen, and he couldn't move at all. "Let's go, Shenlang," Dongfang Bingling said coldly. Yang Dingtian was stunned. She actually called him Shenlang. Could it be that she didn't recognize him at all? Then why did she kidnap him here? Yang Dingtian frowned and said, "Where are we going?" "To find the heaven and earth mystic flame," Dongfang Bingling said. Yang Dingtian was shocked. How did Dongfang Bingling know that he was going to find the heaven and earth mystic flame? "Young lady Dongfang, you must be mistaken. I am under the orders of Lord Qin Wancho to come to the Dongli grassland to form an alliance with the half-human race," Yang Dingtian said. Dongfang Bingling said coldly, "Shut up. Don't lie in front of me. If you say that you are not looking for the mystic flame, I will cut off one of your arms." Yang Dingtian immediately shut his mouth. Dongfang Bingling, this female fiend, was definitely not joking. Qin San, Qin Lu, and Qin Qi were Qin Wancho's trusted guards. She killed them as if they were chickens and dogs, let alone him, a mere Shenlang. Furthermore, Yang Dingtian also knew why Dongfang Bingling couldn't recognize him as Yang Dingtian. Because she was extremely arrogant in her eyes, Yang Dingtian was nothing. Therefore, she probably forgot what Yang Dingtian looked like. Therefore, after he disguised himself as Yang Dingtian, she naturally couldn't recognize him. She was even more lazy to recognize him. Let's go and find the mystic flame. After we find it, I won't kill you. Furthermore, I will give you sufficient rewards. Dongfang Bingling said. Won't kill me? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but sneer. You killed Qin San and the others. Aren't you afraid that I'll leak it out? So what if it's leaked out? Dongfang Bingling said coldly. After I swallow the mysterious fire, I will advance to the Master Realm. Although I'm still not Qin Wancho's opponent, he can't do anything to me. I killed his guards today, and he will be happy to forget about it. Yang Dingtian was shocked once again. Could one advance to the Guru Realm after swallowing the mysterious fire? Dongfang Bingling was only 20 years old. Yang Dingtian had always known that she was a martial venerable, but he had never expected her to be so close to the Grandmaster level. What kind of fortuitous encounter did she have? What kind of mystic realm did he discover? Let's go and find the mystic flame. If you say another word, I will cut off your tongue, Dongfang Bingling said coldly. All right, let's go. Yang Dingtian pointed to the south and said, let's go in that direction. He was pointing in the wrong direction. He wanted to lead Dongfang Bingling to Barbie. Slap. Who knew that after he pointed in the right direction, Dongfang Bingling slapped him. Yang Dingtian felt a sharp pain on his face, and his mouth was filled with blood. Shen Lang, remember, my patience is limited, Dongfang Bingling said coldly. The mystic flame is in the center of the burial grounds. If you dare to point in the wrong direction, I will cut off your arm. Yang Dingtian was really shocked. Dongfang Bingling had never seen the map of the mystic flame. So how did she know that the mystic flame was in the center of the burial grounds? However, Yang Dingtian couldn't point in the wrong direction. Dongfang Bingling carried Yang Dingtian by his neck and landed on the ground. Then, she sped towards the center of the burial grounds in the north. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian felt like he was riding on the clouds. When Dongfang Bingling walked, her feet didn't touch the ground. She floated 1 foot above the ground. Wherever her delicate body passed, the weeds 1 meter in front of her would all turn into powder and lay on the ground. Although the burial grounds were very dirty, her delicate body was completely spotless. Dongfang Bingling's speed was very fast. In a short half an hour, she had already reached the center of the burial grounds. There was a big lake here. The lake was about 10 miles wide, and it was different from the other places in the burial grounds. The rest of the boneyard was basically filthy and unbearably filthy. However, this lake in the center was picturesque and extremely beautiful. The soil here was normal, and the grass here was only knee-high. Moreover, it was a lovely green color. In the middle of the grass, there were all kinds of beautiful little wild flowers. Moreover, the water in the center of the lake was as clean as a mirror. Even the sky here was blue, as if it was washed by water. However, the beautiful scenery here obviously couldn't enter Dongfang Bingling's eyes at all. Speak, where is the mystic flame? Dongfang Bingling said coldly. Under the water, Yang Dingtian said. Under the water? Dongfang Bingling asked. Then I don't know, Yang Dingtian said. You really don't know? Dongfang Bingling said coldly. Then 2 rays of light condensed in her eyes and shot directly into Yang Dingtian's eyes. At this moment, Yang Dingtian felt as if there was a force that firmly locked his spirit and thoughts. I don't know, Yang Dingtian said firmly. He didn't lie. He really didn't know the exact location of the mystic flame. You didn't lie, Dongfang Bingling said. Then can I leave? Yang Dingtian asked. No, Dongfang Bingling said. Although you didn't lie, you deliberately didn't say some other information. Therefore, you can't leave before you find the mystic flame. After saying that, Dongfang Bingling put on a glove and grabbed Yang Dingtian's arm. Then, she jumped and flew up into the air, floating above the center of the central lake. What are you doing? Yang Dingtian asked. Before Yang Dingtian finished his words, Dongfang Bingling grabbed Yang Dingtian and rushed into the lake with a swoosh. This Dongfang Bingling was truly heaven-defying. The moment she dived into the lake, the place she passed through was completely cleared. It was as if the place she passed through was instantly cleared into an air tunnel. Not a single drop of water touched it. Moreover, her speed was extremely fast. In just a few minutes, she had already shuttled back and forth with Yang Dingtian to check the entire lake, which was dozens of kilometers wide. At this moment, not only was Dongfang Bingling searching, even Yang Dingtian was doing his best to search. However, after searching all the corners of the lake, they still couldn't find the whereabouts of the mystic flame. Other than water, there was only water in the lake. Moreover, Babai said that when the time was up, the entire lake would become a mountain. Therefore, Yang Dingtian felt that there should be a mountain hidden under the lake. When the mystic flame bloomed, it was accompanied by intense crustal movements, so the mountain grew out of the lake. However, Yang Dingtian had checked just now. The lake was dozens of kilometers wide and dozens of meters deep. It was all lake water, and there was no trace of a mountain. Swoosh! Dongfang Bingling carried Yang Dingtian and rushed out of the lake, continuing to float in the air. Why isn't there any trace of the mystic flame in the lake? Dongfang Bingling asked. How would I know? Yang Dingtian said. Shouldn't you take a look at the bottom of the lake? Dongfang Bingling looked at Yang Dingtian for a while. Then, she grabbed his hand and rushed into the center of the lake again. This time, Dongfang Bingling didn't shuttle back and forth in the lake. Instead, after finding the center of the lake, she directly dived into it and went to the bottom of the lake. After diving for dozens of meters, the two of them reached the bottom of the lake. Here, Yang Dingtian discovered something strange. That was the bottom of the lake was very, very flat. This was very illogical. No matter if it was on Earth or in this world, the bottom of the lake or the sea was filled with mud, strange rocks, and uneven. Some of the bottom of the sea even had huge mountain peaks. However, there shouldn't be a lake bottom that was absolutely flat. When one stepped on it, it was even very smooth. Moreover, when one stepped on the bottom of the lake, one could clearly feel a cold feeling. Moreover, the closer one got to the center of the lake, the stronger this cold energy was. Dongfang Bingling pulled Yang Dingtian and came to the absolute center of the lake. This place was dozens of meters deep, so it was very difficult for the outside light to shine in. Therefore, it was very dark. Dongfang Bingling reached out and grabbed a ball of water. Her jade-like hands gently closed. Immediately, the water condensed into ice. Dongfang Bingling's jade-like hands squeezed. Bang! Suddenly, the ball of ice exploded. Yang Dingtian's eyes suddenly brightened. When the ball of ice exploded, it shattered into pieces. In an instant, it turned into tens of thousands of white lights and shot out. The entire bottom of the lake was illuminated as bright as day. Under the illumination of the white light, Yang Dingtian clearly saw that the flat bottom of the lake was smooth and crystal clear. The bottom of the lake was not stone, nor soil, but a layer of ice. That's right, it was condensed ice. After discovering this point, Dongfang Bingling released Yang Dingtian's hand and directly sat cross-legged on the ice at the bottom of the lake. She slowly closed her beautiful eyes, as if she was feeling something. When Yang Dingtian saw her beautiful jade-like body sitting on the ice, or to be more direct, when he saw her delicate body sitting on the ice, Yang Dingtian almost couldn't help but want to ask, Fairy, aren't you cold sitting on the ice like this? However, this woman in front of him was a real murderous person. Yang Dingtian certainly wouldn't ask this kind of question to provoke her. Instead, she also sat down cross-legged beside him. Suddenly he really felt cold. Not only he couldn't use his profound qi to resist the cold, he also had to suppress his 9 yang profound veins. Otherwise, the ice under his but would definitely melt into 2 holes. Just like this, Yang Dingtian and Dongfang Bingling silently sat cross-legged on the ice at the bottom of the lake. Time ticked by. At first, Yang Dingtian didn't know what Dongfang Bingling wanted to do. She couldn't possibly cultivate at the bottom of the lake, right? Even though the icy cold Qian energy here was very dense, Yang Dingtian still didn't know what she wanted to do. After 4 to 5 minutes, Yang Dingtian felt something strange at the bottom of the lake. Do you feel it, Shinshin? Shunlang, Dongfang Bingling asked. I feel it. Yang Dingtian said. The ice at the bottom of the lake is rising. The water at the bottom of the lake is constantly condensing into ice. Dongfang Bingling nodded and said, That's right, the water here is constantly condensing into ice. You really didn't lie. This is where the heaven and earth mystic flame is. Yang Dingtian said. Because the mystic flame is desperately devouring heat, the entire lake is starting to condense into ice. Chapter 247. Yang Dingtian asked. Because the mystic flame is desperately devouring heat, the entire lake is starting to freeze? Dongfang Bingling turned to look at Yang Dingtian and said, That's right. According to my estimation, the heaven and earth mystic flame will officially bloom when the entire lake is frozen. Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. Dongfang Bingling was indeed amazing. Things were exactly as she said. Yang Dingtian could not help but ask, Dongfang Bingling, how long do you think it will take for all the water in this lake to freeze? Dongfang Bingling was silent for a moment and said, There should be 29 hours and a quarter. Yang Dingtian was really shocked when he heard this. Dongfang Bingling was actually accurate to the minute. Most importantly, her answer was actually completely correct. There were indeed 58 hours and 8 minutes before the heaven and earth mystic flame bloomed. How did you calculate this number? Yang Dingtian asked. Dongfang Bingling said, According to the increase in the thickness of the ice layer per unit of time, I can get the answer. This calculation was undoubtedly very complicated, because the increase in the ice layer was not uniform, but constantly accelerating. Dongfang Bingling, you are really a genius. Yang Dingtian could not help but say. Dongfang Bingling opened her beautiful eyes and looked at Yang Dingtian. She said, This is nothing. But Shun Lang, you called me Dongfang Bingling? Of course. Yang Dingtian said. If not, what should I call you? Fairy Dongfang? Dongfang Bingling shook her head and said, No, it's just that no one has called me Dongfang Bingling for a very long time. Yang Dingtian said. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait for the mystic flame to bloom in 48 hours? Of course not. Dongfang Bingling said. The heaven and earth mystic flame is a very small flame, and the time it blooms is very short. How short? Yang Dingtian asked. Is it a quarter of an hour? No. Dongfang Bingling said. The supreme great earth fire will last for about a quarter of an hour, but the heaven and earth mystic flame might only last for about half a quarter of an hour or even shorter. Therefore, it will be too late to look for it when it blooms. We must first find the location of this flame, and then wait for it to bloom. 15 minutes? So it was only 7 or 8 minutes. That period of time was really too short. Just like what Dongfang Bingling said, it was already too late to look for the mystic flame when it bloomed. Originally, Yang Dingtian wanted to escape from Dongfang Bingling's clutches immediately, but now, it seemed that he really could not leave Dongfang Bingling's side. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for Yang Dingtian to find the heaven and earth mystic flame under this huge lake. Is this mystic flame under the ice? Yang Dingtian asked. Will it have a candlelight stand? It is not an earth fire, so it won't have a flame stand. Dongfang Bingling said. It is a flame that swallows endless energy and blooms randomly due to the soul. It is completely possible for it to bloom in any inch of this lake, because the mystic flame has a soul and life. Life? Yang Dingtian asked in surprise. Life, Dongfang Bingling said. Yang Dingtian asked. Then how are you going to find this mystic flame? Smash all the ice layers below? No, Dongfang Bingling said. If I destroy the ice layers, I will not be able to find it at all. Then Dongfang Bingling ignored Yang Dingtian and gently stretched her delicate body. Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat, because he had never seen Dongfang Bingling in such a state. This woman had always been cold and aloof. Now when she stretched her delicate body, she actually seemed a little languid. And now, Dongfang Bingling's delicate body was especially curvaceous, moving up and down. Then, something that made Yang Dingtian even more surprised happened. Her delicate body slowly lay down, with her face facing down on the ice surface. Her entire body was in the most intimate contact with the ice surface. Then, her delicate body suddenly lit up with a faint blue light. Suddenly, This woman's figure seemed even more mysterious and moving, like a fairy or a witch. Then, lines of blue light lines grew from Dongfang Bingling's delicate body. Dozens, hundreds, thousands. Finally, countless lines of light spread out from Dongfang Bingling's delicate body. They grew longer and longer, and finally spread to every inch of the ice layer. At the same time, Yang Dingtian clearly felt a powerful energy. These lines of blue light lines were undoubtedly the spiritual energy released by Dongfang Bingling. She actually used this method to investigate every corner of the ice layer. It really made Yang Dingtian gasp in amazement. This method was completely comparable to ultrasound or radar waves. At this moment, Dongfang Bingling seemed to have countless eyes. She could see every corner of the ice layer, searching for traces of the mystic flame. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian held his breath and watched Dongfang Bingling lay on the ice surface, displaying her remarkable abilities. It was a stunning display. A few minutes passed. A dozen minutes passed. Half an hour passed. An hour passed. Yang Dingtian waited on the side for nearly 100 minutes. Suddenly, all the lines of light disappeared without a trace. The blue light on Dongfang Bingling's delicate body gradually faded. Then her flawless beauty gently floated up. Yang Dingtian didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that Dongfang Bingling's face was actually a little pale at this moment. But she was very white before, as white as the snow. Found it? Yang Dingtian asked, feeling a little nervous. Yes. Dongfang Bingling nodded. Where is it? Yang Dingtian blurted out. Then, he held his breath and instinctively became nervous. Because that was the location of the heaven and earth mystic flame. However, Yang Dingtian didn't expect to get an answer. The heaven and earth mystic flame was so precious that no one would say anything after knowing it. Moreover, since Dongfang Bingling had already found the specific location of the heaven and earth mystic flame, Yang Dingtian was of no use. Then Dongfang Bingling would probably kill Yang Dingtian directly to silence him. There! Dongfang Bingling pointed to the northeast corner. Then, she grabbed Yang Dingtian's hand and directly drilled into the thick ice layer. Suddenly, the ice layer melted, forming a 2-meter diameter cave. As the two of them moved forward quickly, the ice in front of them melted quickly and silently. In an instant, it was like an ice tunnel that led to somewhere. Yang Dingtian and Dongfang Bingling moved forward quickly in the ice layer. They went deeper and deeper into the ice layer. After a few minutes, the two of them stopped. At this moment, Yang Dingtian was already more than 200 meters below the ice layer. In the 1 o'clock direction, he was 19 kilometers away from the center of the lake. In front of him, there was a thin and transparent ice layer. On the other side of the ice layer, there was a beautifully shaped ice room, a flame-shaped ice room. The entire ice room was about 10 meters high and 3 to 4 meters wide. Chapter 248. On the other side of the ice layer, there was a beautifully shaped ice room. It was a flame-shaped ice room. The entire ice room was about 10 meters tall and 3 to 4 meters wide. That's right. The heaven and earth level mystic flame bloomed here. For example, when the mystic flame was about to bloom, the entire central lake would be frozen into a complete ice block. There were no impurities or gaps in the ice block. There was only a flame-shaped vacuum zone. That was where the heaven and earth level mystic flame bloomed. It could be said that if it wasn't for Dongfang Bingling, Yang Dingtian wouldn't be able to find it. It was useless to rely on brute force. Even if you destroyed the entire ice layer, it would be useless. If the ice layer was destroyed, the vacuum zone where the mystic flame bloomed would be completely destroyed. By then, no one would be able to find this place. It would be too late to search after the mystic flame bloomed. Hence, looking at the flame-shaped vacuum zone, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but feel excited. The heaven and earth level mystic flame that he had been searching for would bloom here in 2.5 days. As long as he devoured and refined the mystic flame, Yang Dingtian's cultivation would improve by leaps and bounds. He would then be able to forge a real soul sword and defeat everyone to become the new Cloud Heaven City Lord in a few months' time. However, now wasn't the time to be excited, because the biggest trouble was right beside him. Dongfang Bingling. This woman was determined to get the heaven and earth level mystic flame. Want to snatch the mystic flame from this woman? It wasn't a question of whether it was difficult or not. It was a fantasy. Kill her and snatch the mystic flame? Was it possible? Knock her out and snatch the mystic flame? Was it possible? Trick her away and snatch the mystic flame? Was it possible? This woman's current cultivation was probably a few hundred times higher than Yang Dingtian. She could really crush Yang Dingtian with just a finger. If Yang Dingtian could defeat her or knock her out, then Yang Dingtian wouldn't need the mystic flame. What was his ultimate goal for snatching the mystic flame? It was to defeat Dongfang Bingling. Trick her away. Trick her away. Was that even possible? This woman's intelligence and willpower were in no way inferior to her cultivation. Tricking her? That would be seeking his own death. She would have killed Yang Dingtian with a single stroke of her sword if she had sensed his intentions. Therefore, Yang Dingtian was completely at his wit's end. But to watch Dongfang Bingling snatch away the mystic flame? How could this be? How could he be willing? How much did Yang Dingtian pay for this mystic flame? Furthermore, this mystic flame was practically Yang Dingtian's only hope. If he lost this mystic flame, not to mention that Yang Dingtian would not be able to defeat Dongfang Bingling 4 years later, Yang Dingtian would not have any hope of winning the martial arts contest for the position of castellan in a few months. He had to think of a way, but there was nothing he could do. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian felt that the situation in front of him was several times more difficult than when he had wanted to kill the Millennium Owl. You've already found the heaven and earth mystic flame, so I'm of no use anymore, Yang Dingtian said. Dongfang Bingling said lightly, Don't worry, I won't kill you. I don't even bother to silence people. Yang Dingtian said, Then you're letting me go now? No, Dongfang Bingling said. The heaven and earth mystic flame is rare in the world. Before I get the mystic flame, I don't want to have any side issues. Then Dongfang Bingling turned her beautiful face to Yang Dingtian and said, After I've completely refined and swallowed the mystic flame, I'll leave with you. Moreover, I'll give you an unexpected reward. Other than the mystic flame, I can give you almost everything. Then, Dongfang Bingling closed her beautiful eyes slowly and did not have any intention to speak. Even though Yang Dingtian's heart was extremely anxious, he still kept his mouth shut while his mind was spinning rapidly. He had to think of a way to snatch the mystic flame from Dongfang Bingling, but it was really impossible. Time passed second by second, but Yang Dingtian was still at his wit's end. Brutal sword spirit? It instantly turned Qin Xiaobai into an idiot. It was very powerful, but it was completely useless against the powerful Dongfang Bingling in front of him. Evil soul art? The puppet fighting soul in the soul tool ring had already been used when he killed Wu Xingwen. Moreover, Yang Dingtian had already sworn that he would never use the evil soul art. It would destroy himself. Moreover, even if the powerful puppet fighting soul was still there, even if Yang Dingtian was willing to degrade himself to use the evil soul art, it would still be useless against Dongfang Bingling's powerful soul. Deep-sea mystic poison? At this moment, Yang Dingtian still had a little bit of it left in his space ring. However, this little bit of deep-sea mystic poison was completely useless against Dongfang Bingling. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's heart moved, and he was about to speak. However, Yang Dingtian's neck suddenly felt cold. Dongfang Bingling's sword was placed horizontally on his neck. Then, he saw Dongfang Bingling suddenly open her beautiful eyes and stare coldly at him. Her beautiful eyes revealed a dangerous aura. Yang Dingtian. What's wrong? Do you regret it or want to kill me? Yang Dingtian's sword flashed and Yang Dingtian only felt a chill at the back of his neck. Then, Dongfang Bingling placed her sword horizontally in front of Yang Dingtian and said coldly, Xinlang, who exactly are you? Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly jumped. Could it be that he had revealed some flaw? Why didn't Dongfang Bingling suspect him before? But now she did. Yang Dingtian said calmly, I am Xinlang, who else could I be? Then what do you think this is? Dongfang Bingling said, her gaze falling on the sword. Yang Dingtian followed her gaze and saw a black dot on the sword. What was this thing? This is a mole cut off from the back of your neck. But it is fake. Dongfang Bingling said. My mole? Yang Dingtian said in surprise. I don't have a mole on the back of my neck. This is not a mole. This is a soulless worm. Evil ways to cultivate evil creatures. Dongfang Bingling said. It can attach itself to a person's body without the other party feeling anything. When this kind of worm attaches itself to a person's body, no matter where you are within 100 miles, the person controlling the soulless worm will know your exact location. Tell me, who exactly are you? What do you want from me? Who is instructing you from behind? Dongfang Bingling asked coldly, as she placed her sword on Yang Dingtian's neck. Her eyes were filled with absolute killing intent. Yang Dingtian. I don't even know what this thing is. But at least yesterday, I didn't have this thing on the back of my neck. I am Shen Lang, and I don't have any bullshit intentions towards you. I didn't even know that you would appear. Dongfang Bingling's sword trembled, and the black dot on the sword instantly exploded, turning into powder and dissipating. Maybe so, but I don't have time to investigate. Killing you is even simpler, Dongfang Bingling said indifferently. Maybe you are innocent, but so what? So I'm sorry. Suddenly, Dongfang Bingling's beautiful eyes turned cold. She swung her sword fiercely, wanting to kill Yang Dingtian directly. Ha ha ha. All of a sudden, a familiar laughter echoed in her ears. Dongfang Bingling, the #1 prodigy 400 years ago, the Nine Heavens Fairy, who was the only one who could break through to the martial saint realm. Today is the day you die, and this place will be your burial ground. This familiar and sexy voice echoed in Yang Dingtian's ears. In just a short time, this voice was getting closer and closer, from a few thousand meters to a few hundred meters. Then, there was a strange fragrance, and a beautiful figure instantly floated over. A peerless beauty instantly stood in front of Yang Dingtian. This woman was incomparably familiar, but also incomparably unfamiliar. She had an extremely close relationship with Yang Dingtian, but also seemed like an enemy. Demonic woman Dugufengwu. Why did she appear here? Dongfang Bingling looked at Dugufengwu and instantly laughed coldly. So this is your scheme? But you want to kill me with just you? You must be dreaming. What if I am included? Suddenly, an indifferent voice echoed. Then Yang Dingtian's eyes blurred, and a figure instantly appeared in front of him, standing side by side with Dugufengwu. This was a young man in white robes. He could be considered handsome, but he couldn't be compared to Zhu Hongxue and Qin Xiaobai. At most, he was about the same as Yang Dingtian. However, this person had a special charm between his brows and the corner of his mouth. He seemed to be smiling all the time, and also seemed to be mocking others all the time. Once this person appeared, Dongfang Bingling's eyes suddenly shrank, and her face revealed an unprecedented solemn expression. She asked indifferently, Who are you? Joyous Palace, Gudu Wuhuan. That young man said indifferently. In an instant, Dongfang Bingling's jade-like hand, that was holding onto the sword suddenly tightened. The supremacy of the evil ways was the Temple of Annihilation, while the Joyous Palace and Temple of Blood were the right-hand men of the Temple of Annihilation. For example, the Temple of Annihilation was equivalent to the Hidden Sect, while the Joyous Palace and Temple of Blood were equivalent to the Yin-Yang School and the Mystic Heaven Sect. The Joyous Palace's status was above the Temple of Blood. Dugufengwu was the princess of the Temple of Blood, while Gudu Wuhuan was the young lord of the Joyous Palace. The two of them were equivalent to the peerless prodigies of the evil ways. From this, it could be seen that even if Gudu Wuhuan's cultivation wasn't superior to Dugufengwu, it was at least on par with her. Dugufengwu and Dongfang Bingling were also on par. Even if Dongfang Bingling was superior, it was only by a little. In fact, these two women had fought before, and the result was that Dongfang Bingling had a slight advantage. But now, with Dugufengwu and Gudu Wuhuan working together, Dongfang Bingling wasn't a match for them at all. Dongfang Bingling took a deep breath and said, The peerless prodigies of the evil ways are here, and I am naturally not a match for them. But if I want to leave, the two of you might not be able to stop me, right? Dugufengwu sneered and said, Dongfang Bingling is incomparably prideful. Would she run away without a fight? Of course, Dongfang Bingling said coldly. I might be prideful, but I am not foolish. Of course I will run. I only know that 10 years later, even if the two of you work together, you won't be a match for me. Why should I be so rigid about victory and defeat today? Dugufengwu said. In that case, you don't even want this heaven and earth mystic flame. Chapter 249. Dugufengwu said. In that case, you don't even want this heaven and earth mystic flame? I don't want it anymore. Dongfang Bingling said straightforwardly. The heaven and earth mystic flame might be rare, but I might be able to find a second one. I just have to pay a slight price. Finishing her statement, she gently tilted her sharp sword and said, So now, are you going to let me leave? Or do you want me to escape after a huge battle? You should be clear that the two of you won't be able to keep me here, and you won't be able to kill me either. If we were to fight, both of us would suffer great losses. Dugufengwu and Gudu Wuhuan fell into silence. It was obvious that Dongfang Bingling was speaking the truth. Even if the two absolute prodigies of the evil ways worked together, they wouldn't be able to kill Dongfang Bingling. Just how powerful was this woman? If we were to fight, I might be injured and have to escape, but the two of you wouldn't have it easy either. When the mystic flame blooms 2 days later, how are you going to compete with the other experts of the half-human race? Dongfang Bingling said indifferently. Dugufengwu remained silent and looked at Yang Dingtian. What about this Xin Lang? Dongfang Bingling said indifferently. He has nothing to do with me. Dugufengwu said. Then you aren't concerned about why we are here, and who is the one who set this trap for you? Dongfang Bingling shook her head and said, I don't care about schemes. I only care about my own strength. You should make a choice now. Are you going to let me leave? Or are you going to let me escape after a huge battle? Dugufengwu took a deep breath and said, You are right. The two of us won't be able to kill you even if we work together. You are going to escape eventually. Why don't we let you leave now? Dongfang Bingling said, You are not stupid. But, Dugufengwu said, But we came all the way here. And obtaining this mystic flame is only our secondary objective. Our main objective is to kill you. After that, Dugufengwu said coldly, Hypocrite, if you still don't show up, we are really going to let this 9 heavens mystical lady go. Don't think of benefiting from the fight between the crane and the clam. Haha. Suddenly, there was another burst of laughter in the air. Then another shadow floated over. This was an extremely familiar shadow. It was the Northwest Qin City's young lord Qin Huaiyu. After all, Fairy Dongfang and I are from the same Taekwondo league. So it's not good for us to have a falling out. But since Miss Dugu has summoned me, I, Qin Huaiyu, have no choice but to appear. Qin Huaiyu said. Fairy Dongfang, the princess of the Temple of Blood and the young master of the Joyous Palace couldn't even hold you back. What if my Northwest Qin City's young master Qin Huaiyu was added on? I should be able to kill you now. Suddenly, Dongfang Bingling's beautiful face showed an unprecedented seriousness. If the three of you join forces, I should be dead for sure. Dongfang Bingling said to Qin Huaiyu. But? Why? In order to kill me, your Qin City is willing to give up the mystic flame? My Yinyang school has turned a blind eye to your Qin City's expansion in the northwest. Qin Huaiyu sighed softly. Fairy Dongfang, even if the heaven and earth mystic flame is gone, we can still find it. 10 years, 20 years, we will eventually find it. But the chances of killing you will be extremely slim. Especially if we can kill you without anyone knowing. This might be our only chance. Dongfang Bingling said, Kill me? Is it so important that you don't hesitate to join forces with the evil ways? That's right. Killing you is extremely important. It's the most important thing for my Qin City, and also the most important thing for the evil ways. Qin Huaiyu said, In these 400 years, no one has been able to break through to the martial saint realm. This is a good thing. At least the world is in balance. But you, Fairy Dongfang, are an absolute genius. You might break through to the martial saint realm in 20 to 30 years. Then, you will be the only martial saint in this world. When that time comes, the evil ways will be annihilated, and my Qin City will have no chance to rise. So, for the sake of Qin City's future, killing you is the most important thing. The mystic flame can only be ranked second. As for colluding with the evil ways, Qin Huaiyu said, Don't the powers in the Taekwondo League have colluded with the evil ways? Immediately, Dongfang Bingling smiled faintly. She didn't say anything else, let alone beg for mercy. Xin Lang. Qin Huaiyu looked at Yang Dingtian. You can't really think that my father thinks highly of you and regards you as his military advisor, right? You can't really think that my father will fall for your strategic ideas and really want to ally with the half-human race for the future, right? There's no need for that at all. My Qin city and the evil ways are already one family. Then Qin Huayu said, in order for my Qin city to rise, we must destroy the Yin-Yang school and the mysterious heaven sect. That's right. But using the power of the half-human race to nurture them is too far away. Why do we have to give up what's near and seek what's far away? Can't we just look for the Temple of Blood and the Joyous Palace? The hidden sect isn't around, and neither is the Temple of Annihilation. Isn't it good for my Qin city, the Joyous Palace, and the Temple of Blood to rule the entire world? Who said that the hidden sect isn't around? Yang Dingtian said. Isn't Nameless, who appeared in Cloud Heaven City recently, the hidden sect's successor? Ha 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 ha. Qin Huayu instantly laughed. The hidden sect's successor Nameless? Fairy Dongfang, before you die, let me give you a piece of top-secret information. This so-called hidden sect's successor Nameless is your fiancé, Yang Dingtian. Once this was said, Dongfang Bingling's delicate body suddenly trembled, and for the first time, she revealed an expression of disbelief. Yang Dingtian's heart also trembled, and he instinctively looked towards Dugufengwu. In this world, Dugufengwu was the only one who knew that the hidden sect's successor, Nameless, was actually Yang Dingtian. Furthermore, Qin Huayu must have found out about this secret after Yang Dingtian left Cloud Heaven City. Otherwise, Yang Dingtian wouldn't have been able to leave Cloud Heaven City alive back then. But soon enough, Yang Dingtian stopped his action of looking at Dugufengwu. Instead, he looked towards Dongfang Bingling. Her absolutely beautiful face was filled with astonishment as she said, Impossible. Yang Dingtian can't possibly know the hidden sect's sword art, and Yang Dingtian can't possibly have thunder attribute mystic skills. Qin Huayu laughed and said, Fairy Dongfang, you are an absolute prodigy in this world, so you have never placed anyone in your eyes, including your father. You think that your talent is the best in the world in the past 400 years. But I can tell you that you might not be the best in the world. Yang Dingtian's talent might not be inferior to yours. Impossible. Dongfang Bingling spoke in a cold and angry voice. Yang Dingtian can't possibly have such high talent. What evidence does he have to impersonate the hidden sect's successor? Dugufengwu said indifferently, because I have another identity, and that is the Seven Refined Lane's third Lady Gongsun. I forced Yang Dingtian to impersonate the hidden sect's successor. His hidden sect's sword art was taught by me, but I only know the superficial moves. I didn't expect that after I taught him the fake sword art, he could actually learn the real one. Chapter 250. Dongfang Bingling's beautiful face had a trace of blush for the first time, and her breathing became slightly hurried as she said, Then why does Yang Dingtian know the thunder attribute mystic skill? Dugufengwu was slightly startled before she giggled and said, Dongfang Bingling, so you don't mind that Yang Dingtian is impersonating the hidden sect's disciple. You are only concerned about Yang Dingtian's exceptional talent. Not only does he know the real hidden sect's sword art, but he also knows the thunder attribute mystic skill. Immediately after, Dugufengwu said, I don't know much about the thunder attribute mystic skill, but I roughly know that when he entered the Fire Cloud Devil Cave with me to forge the Sword Soul Youngling sword, I threw him into the bottomless abyss. But I didn't expect that he didn't die, and instead found a 5 elements hall mystic realm. What I didn't expect was that when the extremely powerful stone giant guarding the mystic realm was about to kill us, he actually treated Yang Dingtian as a guest of the mystic realm, and allowed him to cultivate in the mystic realm. You are saying that he learned the thunder attribute mystic skill in the mystic realm? Dongfang Bingling sneered and said, That is impossible. With your personality, why didn't you kill Yang Dingtian? Everyone knows that after coming out of the mystic realm, he will definitely improve rapidly, and will be a threat to your evil ways. Who said I didn't kill him? Dugufengwu said. I ripped off his deep-sea mystic clothes and placed my palm on his heart. After I confirmed that he was dead, I left. How would I know how he came back from the dead, and learned the thunder attribute mystic skill in the mystic realm? Dongfang Bingling's delicate body instantly shivered as she said, "He also died in the mystic realm before." Dugufengwu said, "Dongfang Bingling, did you also die in the mystic realm before?" Dongfang Bingling didn't reply as her beautiful face regained its cold expression and said, "All right, even if the hidden sect's disciple Wu Ming is impersonated by Yang Dingtian, so what? Even if he had once cultivated in the secret realm, even if he knew lightning attribute profound skills, so what? For years later, he still can't even catch a glimpse of my back. I'm the most talented person in this world. I'm the only person in this world who can break through to the martial saint realm." At this moment, Yang Dingtian was truly shocked by Dongfang Bingling. She was actually concerned about someone challenging her title of the world's #1 martial Dao talent when she was at death's door. "Perhaps," Qin Huayu said, "but so what? You won't have the chance to see it anyway. You're dead meat today. Of course, you can rest assured that in 7 months at most, I will let your fiancé, Yang Dingtian, come down to accompany you. But today, you can only let this cheap uncle accompany you to hell. You'll have to reluctantly do it." Yang Dingtian immediately let out a deep sigh. He looked at Qin Huayu and said, "Young Lord Qin, your father appointed me as the military advisor, making me second only to one person, and above all in Qin City. He even banished dozens of Qin clansmen, and punished his own daughter, Qin Jiaojiao, for me. Did you use me as bait to kill Dongfang Bingling?" "Of course," Qin Huayu said. "But we didn't kill you that night, and appointed you as the military advisor not because we wanted to kill Fairy Dongfang, but because we wanted to know the exact location of the heaven and earth mystic flame. In fact, after you and Yi Feng's duel, when you presented the painting and the poem, we guessed that the other half of the mystic flame's map was in your hands. When my father summoned you alone, and you tried every possible means to lure us out of the other half of the mystic flame's map, we were sure that you had the other half. But you're a stubborn person. Even if we killed you, you wouldn't hand over the other half of the mystic flame's map. So, my father beat you at your own game, and let you come to the Dongli grassland, to come to the mystic flame yourself. Through the soulless worm, we could track your location at all times. So once you found the location of the mystic flame, I would appear, kill you, and take back the sacred flame." Then Qin Huayu sneered and said, "Shen Lang, otherwise, do you think my father would really think highly of you? Why do you think the Qin clan's disciples tried so hard to find trouble with you? It was all because of my incitement. It was to gain your trust, and make you feel overwhelmed by the favor. Otherwise, how could a wastrel like you, who is even inferior to pork, be qualified to enter my Qin city? Ha! You are indeed a generation's hero, Qin Wanqiu. You are as cunning as a fox, and your schemes are as deep as the sea." Yang Dingtian let out a burst of laughter. He then withdrew his laughter and said indifferently, "After I defeated Yi Feng, I presented that map. Although it was similar to the Mystic Flame's map, it was too ridiculous for you to infer that the other half of the Mystic Flame's map was in my hands." "Of course it wasn't just that," Qin Huayu said. "We were only suspicious at that time, but your true identity made us certain that the other half of the Mystic Flame's map was in your hands." Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's heart jumped. Could it be that this Qin Huayu always knew that he was Yang Dingtian? However, Yang Dingtian obviously would not admit it. Instead, he sneered and said, "True identity? How come I didn't know that I had another true identity other than Shen Lang? Are you sure? Young Master Tianhan of Ice Peak Valley?" Qin Huayu sneered and said. At that time, almost all the forces gathered at Ice Peak Valley with ulterior motives. In one night, nearly 1,000 people were killed in Ice Peak Valley. It was said that it was for a 9th grade mystic skill scroll, but there was a secret rumor that it was not for that scroll, but for the Mystic Flames map. The rumor said that the Mystic Flames map was attached to that scroll. It was not to the extent of slaughtering the entire Ice Peak Valley for a scroll, but it was enough with the Mystic Flames map. We were skeptical about this rumor. However, 17 years later, young Master Tianhan of Ice Peak Valley appeared at my father's birthday banquet and drew a map of the Dongli grassland that was similar to the Mystic Flames map. Then, it undoubtedly confirmed the rumor, that the Ice Peak Valley was slaughtered for the Mystic Flames map. Therefore, we confirmed that the other half of the Mystic Flames map was in your hands. Instantly, Yang Dingtian was stupefied. He truly couldn't imagine that things could develop like this. The so-called identity of young Master Tianhan of Ice Peak Valley was a lie made up by Yang Dingtian to cheat Qin Mengli's heart. However, he did not expect Qin Huaiyu to guess that Yang Dingtian had the other half of the Mystic Flames map by mistake. Why? Are you stunned after being exposed, Shen Lang? Qin Huaiyu said coldly. Yang Dingtian sighed and said, I am Ren Tianhan. How did you know? Did Ali tell you? Of course it was her. Qin Huaiyu said. But don't worry, she did not betray you. She is still deeply in love with you. However, at that time, we despised you for being a loafer who had nothing and was not worthy of her. Furthermore, you appeared beside her out of nowhere with ulterior motives. In order to convince us, Qin Mengli told us your true identity. Then, Qin Huaiyu said coldly, however, you really deserved to die. My aunt was deeply in love with you, but you got close to her just to use her to obtain the other half of the Mystic Flames map. Tell me, how did you know that the other half of the Mystic Flames map was in my hands? How did Yang Dingtian know that the other half of the Mystic Flames map was in his hands? Of course, it was inferred from the words he wrote on the Mystic Flames map, his rape of Ningro and his appearance in the great demon Li Tianxiao's secret chamber. However, Yang Dingtian would obviously not say it. If he said it, not only would his identity be exposed, but Ningro would also be in danger. Is this still important? Yang Dingtian sneered and said. Anyway, you will kill me no matter what. Why should I say it? That's true. Anyway, you will die no matter what, so there's no need to say it, Qin Huaiyu said. Then, Qin Huaiyu continued. My father's original plan was to use you to find the exact location of the Mystic Flame. However, we realized that Dongfang Bingling did not leave immediately after the birthday banquet. Instead, she was paying attention to Shen Lang for some unknown reason, as though she had some understanding of the Mystic Flame. Therefore, my father thought for an entire night and made another choice. That was to give up on the heaven and earth Mystic Flame and get rid of Dongfang Bingling to truly form an alliance with the Temple of Blood and the Joyous Palace. Therefore, he found young Mistress Dugu and young Lord Gudu and set up this huge trap to kill Dongfang Bingling. Yang Dingtian said, Your father is truly impressive. He is truly talented and bold. He is even willing to give up on the heaven and earth Mystic Flame. Of course, Qin Huaiyu said. My father is a person with great wisdom. Even if the Mystic Flame is gone, he will still be able to find it in 10 years or more. Using a Mystic Flame to get rid of Dongfang Bingling in exchange for the true friendship of the Joyous Palace and the Temple of Blood. Our Qin city has profited from this transaction. Dugufengwu laughed and said, Young Lord Qin isn't speaking the truth. City Lord Qin might be talented and bold, but he probably isn't willing to give up on the Mystic Flame just like that. It was mainly because when I went to meet City Lord Qin, I vaguely mentioned that I knew about the Mystic Flame. Therefore, your father reluctantly gave it up. Of course, this is also part of the reason, Qin Huaiyu said. Young Mistress Dugu, please forgive me for not knowing how you know that the other half of the Mystic Flames map is in our Qin city's hands. No one knows about this secret. Dugufengwu said. A few years ago, young Lord Qin went to a secret room at the peak of a cliff in the southwest continent. That was the place where Li Tianxiao died. Do you need me to say more? Qin Huaiyu was astonished and said, The Temple of Blood knows everything, and is truly incredible. This Qin is full of admiration. Afterward, Qin Huaiyu looked at Dongfang Bingling and said, Fairy Dongfang, could you also know that I went to Li Tianxiao's secret room? How did you know that we have the Mystic Flames map? In an instant, Dongfang Bingling turned cold and didn't say anything. Yang Dingtian sighed and said, Dongfang Bingling, I also want to know. I really don't know how you know that I am here to look for the heaven and earth Mystic Flame. Dongfang Bingling didn't bother about Yang Dingtian. Things have already come to this, and you aren't even going to tell me such a small wish. Do you want me to be a confused ghost? Yang Dingtian asked. Chapter 251. At this point in time, you won't even tell me such a small wish. Do you want me to be a muddle-headed ghost? Yang Dingtian asked. Ashina is a spy that I sent to Qin City, Dongfang Bingling said indifferently. The lives of her parents and relatives are all in my hands. Yang Dingtian suddenly understood why Dongfang Bingling knew so much about Yang Dingtian's search for the mystic flame. She even knew the approximate location of the mystic flame. Qin Huayu said in surprise. Fairy Dongfang, why did you send a spy to my Qin city? Dongfang Bingling said. Your Qin city is secretly capturing the Foxman race. I want to know what your intentions are. I originally guessed that you wanted to set a trap for the half-human race, so I sent Ji as a spy. However, I didn't expect that you were doing it for the mystic flame. Yang Dingtian really didn't expect that the naive and cute Ji Ashina was actually Dongfang Bingling's spy. In her mouth her status was very high. However, the Foxman patriarch's daughter, Xiang Bela, didn't know her at all. Furthermore, when she saw Xiang Bela, Ji Ashina, who had been very energetic previously, was pretending to be asleep. Alright, we have finished catching up. It's time to take action, Qin Huayu said indifferently. Wait, Guda Wuhuan, who had been quiet all this while, looked at Yang Dingtian. Sir Shen Lang, how about we make a deal? Let's hear it, Yang Dingtian said. Guda Wuhuan said. You stand on our side and kill Dongfang Bingling together with us. How about it? Yang Dingtian frowned and said. And then? Don't tell me that you won't kill me because of this? Of course not, Guda Wuhuan said. In return, you can die peacefully. Otherwise, you are a very good material. I really can't bear to waste your body. For example? Yang Dingtian said. For example, puppet fighting souls. Guda Wuhuan said. Yang Dingtian looked at Dugufengwu and asked. What do you think? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but ask this question. Dugufengwu said indifferently. Alright, let's do it. Guda Wuhuan smiled and said. Then make a choice. Will you stand on our side or Fairy Dongfang's side? Yang Dingtian sighed, and slowly pulled out his huge heavenly demon saber. Even though I don't like Dongfang Bingling, I'll still stand on her side. No need move aside, Dongfang Bingling said coldly, raising her beautiful and proud face. Qin Huayu's pupils constricted as he said. Alright then, the final moment has arrived. Fairy Dongfang, do you have any last words? At the same time, Qin Huayu, Dugufengwu, and Guda Wuhuan slowly pointed their sharp swords at Dongfang Bingling. What last words do you want? Dongfang Bingling said with disdain, and shook the sharp sword in her hand. In an instant, a gust of wind blew by, and Dongfang Bingling's long hair and skirt fluttered, making her even more beautiful and ethereal like a fairy. Even Qin Huayu's eyes couldn't help but blur for a moment. Immediately after, Dongfang Bingling's delicate body burst out with a lump of blue light. With just the three of you? Dongfang Bingling reprimanded coldly, and the surrounding ice layer burst out with blue light. Dongfang Bingling's delicate body danced in the air, like a fairy descending from the 9 heavens. Afterward, Yang Dingtian was incomparably astonished. The boundless ice seemed to have come alive. Countless small blue radiances flew out from the ice, and rapidly flew towards Dongfang Bingling's delicate body like little spirits. Everyone present didn't know what was going on, but they instinctively felt a mysterious and dangerous aura. Dugufengwu, Guda Wuhuan, Qin Huayu, you want to kill me with just the 3 of you? Dream on. Dongfang Bingling spoke with a chilly voice. Her voice was even more pleasant to the ears, but it didn't sound like a real person anymore. When Dugufengwu saw that Dongfang Bingling was enveloped by hundreds and thousands of small blue radiances, her expression changed slightly as she said, Make a move immediately and kill Dongfang Bingling. Following Dugufengwu's order, Qin Huayu, Dugufengwu, and Guda Wuhuan suddenly flashed and formed a triangle, surrounding Yang Dingtian and Dongfang Bingling in the center. Immediately after, the 3 of them circulated their mystic qi to the extremity, and brewed their strongest lethal mystic skill. This wasn't a martial contest where they had to fight for 300 rounds. They were going to kill, and they had to kill in a single move. In an instant, Yang Dingtian felt as though he was in the center of a nuclear explosion. Of course, the explosion hadn't started yet, and was still counting down. It was an energy that could turn the world upside down. An energy that could turn the world upside down. Reincarnation technique. A black energy whirlpool suddenly engulfed Qin Huayu's body and grew bigger and bigger. Finally, it enveloped the surrounding few hundred meters, making it look like hell. Shura sky. Dugu Fengwu's mystic skill was a brilliant red that covered the entire sky. It was like the blazing sun, and also like fresh blood that broke through the sky. It was extremely breathtaking and horrifying. Wherever the brilliant red passed, the firm ice would instantly turn into dust. Heavenly Dragon Technique. As for Gudu Wuhuan, it was an extremely ferocious golden giant dragon that revolved around his body. Not only did it destroy the surrounding ice, but it also completely suppressed Qin Huayu and Dugu Fengwu's mystic skill energy. Yang Dingtian had never seen Gudu Wuhuan before, but he had seen Qin Huayu and Dugu Fengwu before. He even had a deep relationship with them. However, Yang Dingtian had never seen the mystic skills that the two of them were executing. It was obvious that this was their trump card. There was no doubt that the three of them were executing 9th grade mystic skills. Furthermore, they were going all out and wanted to kill Dongfang Bingling. Of course, that included Yang Dingtian. In fact, the three of them didn't even need to aim their mystic skills at Yang Dingtian. Under such a level of attack, even if Yang Dingtian was a few hundred meters away, there would only be one outcome. He would be smashed into smithereens. Yang Dingtian held his breath and gripped the Sky Devil battle saber tightly. He condensed all the mystic chi in his body onto the saber and prepared to receive this fatal attack. Of course, it was completely meaningless if he was going to resist. As compared to the fatal attack from the three of them, his energy was insignificant like a firefly to the bright moon. That's right, he knew many cultivation techniques, especially the third rank of the pig-slaying sword art, the Yin-Yang Qi transformation technique, which was the #1 mystical technique in the world. However, all of this was completely useless in front of him. In the face of absolute energy, it didn't matter what cultivation technique or secret manual it was. It was all useless. However, he truly wasn't willing to be turned into ashes without any resistance. Time ticked by. In the blink of an eye, the three of them had already condensed their mystic chi to the extremity. Yang Dingtian couldn't see the three of them anymore. The surrounding 1,000 meters of ice had already turned into nothingness. It was a hell that was filled with extremely powerful energy. It didn't seem like the human world. Chapter 252. Yang Dingtian could no longer see the silhouettes of the three people. The surrounding 1,000 meters of ice had already turned into nothingness. It was a hell filled with incomparably powerful energy. It did not seem like the human world at all. Dongfang Bingling's delicate body was still spinning in the air. Endless cold radiance surged out from the 100 miles of ice and flew towards Dongfang Bingling's body, surrounding her. It was like countless fairies, but also like countless fireflies that were countless times more beautiful. Instantly, Dongfang Bingling's entire body seemed to have become transparent. It emitted a charming and pure radiance from inside out, making her look even more like a fairy that had descended. Furthermore, Dongfang Bingling's eyes were still closed. Facing the fatal attacks from the three powerful enemies, she did not even open her eyes to take a look. "It's all over," Qin Huayu suddenly shouted. Then, the sharp sword in his hand slashed down. Instantly, the dark energy that filled the sky instantly condensed into a line and stabbed towards Dongfang Bingling. At the same time, the blood radiance that filled the sky around Dongfang Bingling also condensed into a sword. It turned into an incomparably terrifying crimson snow sword and shot towards Dongfang Bingling. The golden energy dragon that revolved around Gudu Wuhuan suddenly let out an earth-shattering roar. Then, it turned into a white light and shot towards Dongfang Bingling. Three incomparably powerful and deadly energies attacked Dongfang Bingling at the same time. With Dongfang Bingling's cultivation, she could take on one of them. She could barely take on two and not die. However, if she were to take on three, she would definitely die. Boom! A loud sound echoed. Yang Dingtian only felt a white light flash. It was as if a comet had collided with Earth. It was also as if a nuclear bomb had exploded on Earth. Everything in front of him was extremely bright. The incomparably powerful energy suddenly exploded. It was enough to completely destroy everything and turn everything into dust. Yang Dingtian's Sky Devil Battle Saber contained his greatest energy as it slashed out. Then, everything in front of him turned into nothingness. He lost all his senses. Not only his sight and hearing, but also his sense of touch and feeling. In short, everything seemed to have disappeared. Not only did his body and divine sense disappear, it was as if the entire world had disappeared. Perhaps this was the feeling of death. It was unknown how much time had passed. It felt like only a moment had passed, yet it also felt like a lifetime had passed. All of his senses were gradually recovering and returning to Yang Dingtian's body. He could feel it, hear it, and see it again. But the moment he saw it, he was completely stunned. Because he was actually safe and sound. Moreover, Dongfang Bingling was also safe and sound. However, her delicate body didn't look like a human's at all. The endless ice fairies continued to revolve around her, while she herself seemed to have been carved out of ice. She was sparkling and translucent, stunning to the extreme, and also extremely strange to the extreme. A huge hole was blasted open in the middle of the lake. Then, the surrounding lake water quickly surged in to fill up the hole. Then, it froze into ice at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not only Yang Dingtian, but Dugu Fengwu, Qin Huayu, and Gudu Wuhuan were also completely stunned. Dongfang Bingling actually didn't die from the fatal attacks of the three of them? How was this possible? They knew about Dongfang Bingling's cultivation, and it was impossible for her to withstand the overwhelming attacks of the three of them. There should only be one outcome, and that was for Dongfang Bingling to be completely crushed. However, not only were her bones not crushed, but she also didn't seem to be severely injured. How is this possible? Even a master-class expert wouldn't be able to do this. At this moment, Dongfang Bingling gradually opened her beautiful eyes. Yang Dingtian noticed that her eyes were like gems and didn't seem to be made of flesh and blood. I said before that only Dongfang Bingling is able to kill Dongfang Bingling. She opened her absolutely beautiful mouth and spoke. Her petal-like lips were completely transparent, as though they were really made of ice. As she spoke, an eerie blue crystal liquid flowed out from the corner of her mouth. This was originally her blood, but it had turned eerie blue. Yang Dingtian understood that Dongfang Bingling wasn't safe and sound. Immediately after, Dongfang Bingling looked at Qin Huayu and the others and said, "That's right. I must die today, but I will definitely not die in the hands of the three of you. Only Dongfang Bingling is able to kill Dongfang Bingling. Furthermore, the few of you will have to accompany me in death." Finishing her statement, Dongfang Bingling's delicate body suddenly burst out with a strange radiance. Immediately after, the ice spirits that were revolving around her delicate body suddenly drilled into her body. At the same time, all the ice in the surrounding hundreds of miles flew towards Dongfang Bingling in a frenzy and drilled into her body. Dongfang Bingling's delicate body floated in the air, and her trembling delicate body showed that she was enduring extreme pain. Furthermore, her body was rapidly transforming inch by inch. If she was just like an ice woman earlier, she was now completely an ice woman. Her snow-white and tender skin was slowly freezing into ice. Mystical maiden of the 9 heavens, Dongfang Bingling, was slowly turning into an ice woman. "Let's die together," Dongfang Bingling yelled out delicately, and her voice was completely like ice cracking and jade shattering. Qin Huayu's expression changed drastically as he looked at Dugu Fengwu and Gudu Wuhuan. The three of them looked at each other and thought of the same word at the same time. Sacrifice. That's right, sacrifice. It could be said that this was the most powerful mystic skill in the world, and it was also the most decisive mystic skill. It could even be said that it was more decisive than the self-destruction of the Qi vessel. Sacrifice was to completely offer one's body and spirit to the terrifying energy of heaven and earth. Ice attribute martial artists would offer themselves to the endless ice. Fire attribute martial artists would offer themselves to the endless blazing fire. Afterward, one's body would be completely fused with the incomparably powerful energy, and the final attack would be able to kill even gods and Buddhas. If Dongfang Bingling had only self-destructed her Qi vessel, she might only be able to injure Qin Huayu and the others, but she wouldn't be able to kill them. However, she had actually used sacrifice. There was only one outcome, and that was mutual destruction. Dongfang Bingling would definitely be smashed into smithereens, but Qin Huayu, Duge Fengwu, and Gude Wuhuan would also be turned into dust. Of course, this included the passerby, Yang Dingtian. Even though he might be indirectly dying in the hands of Dongfang Bingling, he couldn't help but have heartfelt respect for Dongfang Bingling. This was the first time. In the past, Yang Dingtian only had hatred and disdain for her. Right now he still hated her, but there was an additional trace of respect. This woman was truly stubborn and prideful to the extreme. She would never lower her head at any moment, and would always maintain her pride. Qin Huayu and the others didn't dare to think further, as they looked at one another. Sacrifice was the most mysterious and powerful mystic skill. It only existed in legends, and no one had truly seen or used it before. No one expected for Dongfang Bingling to actually learn this supreme and decisive mystic skill. Earlier on, it was merely the first chapter of sacrifice, and it had already blocked the combined mystic skills of Qin Huayu and the others. Right now, Dongfang Bingling was going to execute the second chapter of sacrifice, annihilation. There were only 2 chapters of sacrifice. Dongfang Bingling had devoured all the energy of the surrounding sea ice and fused it with her own energy. Once it was released, the power would be astounding. Therefore, when they saw Dongfang Bingling turning into an ice statue inch by inch, Qin Huayu and the others were filled with astonishment. When Dongfang Bingling had completely turned into an ice statue, it would be the time for sacrifice to be released. When that time came, everyone present would be turned into ashes. Use weapons to kill her. Don't use mystic qi, Qin Huayu said. Right now, Dongfang Bingling's surroundings were filled with incomparably powerful energy. Earlier on, the trio's combined mystic skill attack was useless. It was obvious that mystic qi energy couldn't harm her at all. Therefore, Qin Huayu said to use weapons. Finishing his statement, Qin Huayu thrust his sword at lightning speed towards Dongfang Bingling's chest, wanting to stab her to death. Clang! But before Qin Huayu's sword could stab into Dongfang Bingling's body, it was repelled by an incomparably tough and powerful energy. After executing their mystic skills, the trio was actually helpless against Dongfang Bingling. Right now, even more icy cold energy was crazily entering Dongfang Bingling's body. The energy she had gathered was getting stronger and stronger, and it could explode at any moment. Once it was released, the trio would definitely die. Go! Duge Fengwu gave the order, and instantly turned to escape. Qin Huayu had an unresigned expression. Dongfang Bingling is dead for sure. She just didn't die in our hands. Gude Wuhuan said, "Let's go." In an instant, Gude Wuhuan and Qin Huayu also turned to escape. Swish! Suddenly Gude Wuhuan, who was already far away, shot out a cold light which pierced into Yang Dingtian's chest. Bang! Yang Dingtian vomited a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. This Gude Wuhuan was actually so vicious. Before escaping, he actually wanted to kill Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian saw it clearly. The concealed weapon was an icicle. If he wasn't wearing the deep-sea mystic clothes, he would really be dead. Before making his move, Gude Wuhuan also felt that Yang Dingtian was definitely going to die. He didn't even take a look and immediately disappeared with Qin Huayu. Yang Dingtian struggled to get up from the ground, and saw more and more icy cold energy pouring into Dongfang Bingling's body. The speed of her body turning into ice was getting faster. Once this transformation reached the extreme, the icy cold energy that she had devoured would be instantly released. By then, Dongfang Bingling would definitely be shattered into pieces, and Yang Dingtian would definitely be turned into ashes. But right now, no one was able to stop all of this from happening. Even Duge Fengwu, Qin Huayu, and Gude Wuhuan weren't able to stop it, which was why the trio escaped. These 3 individuals were martial supreme class experts, and even she and the others couldn't stop them, let alone a mere martial mystic class expert like Yang Dingtian. Right now, even Dongfang Bingling wasn't able to stop it because she had already given her body and willpower to the sacrifice. Chapter 253. Master, is there any way to stop Dongfang Bingling's sacrifice? We don't have much time left. Yang Dingtian said anxiously in his heart. Even though Dongfang Minmi was just a consciousness and didn't know how to breathe, but at this moment in Yang Dingtian's mind, he was still panting rapidly. It was obvious that he was extremely worried and nervous. Dongfang Bingling was his daughter, and Yang Dingtian was his disciple. They were all his hopes. These were the two people closest to him, Dongfang Minmi, in this world. Once the sacrifice was released, these two people would be smashed to pieces. Child, I really wish I knew how to stop the sacrifice, but I really don't know. Dongfang Minmi said. So you have to run quickly, run immediately, run as far as you can. What about Dongfang Bingling? She will die. Yang Dingtian said. That is her life. You have to run quickly. Dongfang Minmi said. Master, I can't run away either. If I am in the lake, I will definitely die. Once I come out of the lake, Qin Huaiyu and the others will also kill me. Yang Dingtian said. At this moment, the ice had already spread to Dongfang Bingling's chest and quickly reached her neck. Once it reached the top of her head, her entire body would turn into ice. That would be the time for the sacrifice to be released. According to Yang Dingtian's estimation, the sacrifice would be released in less than 10 seconds. Master, the three people's combined mystical skills were so astonishing. Why were they unable to harm Dongfang Bingling at all? Yang Dingtian said. Because the ice energy surrounding her body is a natural energy shield. Ice-type attacks are ineffective and will only be swallowed. Fire-type mystical skills cannot penetrate it. Dongfang Minmi said. Then if I injure Dongfang Bingling now, will the sacrifice stop? Yang Dingtian said. I think so. Dongfang Minmi said. But the energy shield on the surface of her body is already extremely strong. You won't be able to penetrate it. Oh no, other people won't be able to penetrate it, but you can. Lightning elemental energy can ignore any defense, especially the ice element. At this time, the ice had already spread to the tip of Dongfang Bingling's nose. It was less than 3 seconds away from being destroyed and smashed into pieces. Immediately, Yang Dingtian used his fastest speed and greatest amount of profound energy to prepare the lightning attribute profound skill, Mountain Split. 2 seconds later, pa! A bolt of lightning suddenly shot out and struck the surface of Dongfang Bingling's body. Instantly, a surge of electric energy completely ignored the impenetrable ice barrier and directly drilled into Dongfang Bingling's body. Although the surface of Dongfang Bingling's body was filled with powerful energy, the inside of her body was at its weakest. So when the lightning elemental energy drilled into her body, there was no resistance. Dongfang Bingling directly fainted and fell to the ground. Without any movement, without any sound, without any resistance, she was directly struck to the ground by Yang Dingtian's lightning attribute profound skill, Mountain Split. Then the sacrifice also stopped. At this time, the ice had just spread to her forehead. It was less than half a second before it was released. Yang Dingtian, once again, lingered at the gates of hell. Finally he wasn't pulled in. But now, he wasn't out of danger yet. Because Qin Huaiyu and the rest could return at any time. Yang Dingtian had to immediately escape from this place. At this time, there were 3 ways to escape. The first way above was to leave the central lake. Of course, this direction was definitely not feasible. As long as he left the lake, he would immediately be discovered by Qin Huaiyu and the rest. Only death awaited him. The second way, under the ice of the lake, he could find a random corner to hide in. The central lake was about 100 miles long, so finding a corner to hide in was not difficult. But even if he hid, Qin Huaiyu and the rest were absolute experts. It shouldn't be difficult for them to sense Yang Dingtian's aura. So it would still be very difficult to escape from their evil clutches. In the third direction it kept going down, down and down. Of course the third way was even more uncertain, because Yang Dingtian didn't know what was below. He only vaguely felt that it was getting colder as he went down. So it was getting colder. If it was extremely cold, then his 9 young profound veins would be very advantageous. He remembered that there was an unfreezing pool in the abandoned mine. It was the coldest place. Even Zhao Wuji couldn't withstand it. One must know that Zhao Wuji was also a martial supreme expert. The first way was impossible. The second way was easy to do, but the probability of being discovered was still very high. The third way was the most uncertain and risky. But no matter what, Yang Dingtian had to make a choice as quickly as possible. In just a few seconds, Yang Dingtian made his choice. He chose the third way. Even though it was very uncertain and full of unknowns, Yang Dingtian liked to take risks. After deciding which way to go, the next thing he had to decide was whether to bring Dongfang Bingling with him. Of course, Yang Dingtian didn't hesitate for long before he made his decision. Bring Dongfang Bingling with him. Even though Yang Dingtian hated her and didn't love her, she was after all his master's only daughter. Moreover, his master's divine sense was in his mind right now. He carried Dongfang Bingling and carried her on his back. Immediately, he felt a bone-piercing cold. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but shiver. Then, Yang Dingtian put the Sky Devil battle blade into his spatial ring and took out his youngling sword. Even though the Sky Devil battle blade was also a fire-type weapon, but in terms of the fire-type energy it contained, it was much weaker than the youngling sword. Even though the primal divine sense in the youngling sword was still asleep, but as a weapon, it didn't have much of an effect on its usage. Grabbing onto the youngling sword, Yang Dingtian fiercely pierced it into the underground ice. Blazing profound qi was emitted through the youngling sword. Immediately, the ice within a 3 qi radius around the youngling sword melted into water. Carrying Dongfang Bingling on his back, Yang Dingtian fiercely jumped down. Then, he continued to hold onto the youngling sword tightly and pierced it deeper. As he went deeper, he injected profound qi to melt the ice. Just like this, Yang Dingtian continued to melt the ice. And the water that had just melted behind him quickly froze into solid ice again. Melting ice was of course slower than breaking ice. Furthermore, it consumed more energy. But if he broke the ice, he would obviously leave behind traces. It would clearly tell Qin Huayu and the rest which direction he escaped in. And after melting the ice, the places he passed by would quickly freeze into ice again. He wouldn't leave any traces behind. 1 qi, 1 qi. Yang Dingtian continued to melt the ice, going deeper and deeper. 10 minutes later, Yang Dingtian had already penetrated several hundred meters into the bottom of the ice. The ice in front of him really seemed to be endless. Yang Dingtian continued to melt the ice and continued to dive deeper and deeper. After exactly half an hour, Yang Dingtian had already dived close to 1,000 meters. PFFF. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's body swayed. As it turned out, he had already reached the end of the ice. Chapter 254. At the bottom of the pool was crystal clear water. Not only was the water extremely clear, but it was also fluorescent. Yang Dingtian carried Dongfang Bingling on his back and rushed into the water. Suddenly, a bone-piercing chill drilled into his body, causing Yang Dingtian to be completely frozen and unable to move. The water was so cold that Yang Dingtian could not bear it even though he had just dived in. Compared to the unfreezing pond in the abandoned mine, this place was even colder. The fluorescent pond here was almost as cold as the deepest part of the unfreezing pond in the abandoned mine. Of course, this fluorescent pond was also an unfreezing pond. As long as it was terrifyingly cold and did not condense into ice, it was unfreezing water. After his whole body was frozen, Yang Dingtian desperately operated the internal force in his body to provide heat and kept diving down. The temperature was getting lower and lower, colder and colder. After diving for 10 meters, Yang Dingtian's whole body was frozen again. After diving for 20 meters, Yang Dingtian could not generate any heat no matter how hard he operated his internal force. After diving for 30 meters, Yang Dingtian's whole body was completely numb, and he could not feel anything. However, he still instinctively dived. Due to gravity, he kept sinking. The temperature here was even colder than the deepest part of the unfreezing pond in the abandoned mine. The coldest place in the universe was absolute zero. However, there was no place in the universe that could reach absolute zero. It could only be infinitely close to it. In fact, the coldest part of the unfreezing pond in the abandoned mine was very, very close to absolute zero. However, when the temperature was extremely low, just a difference of 1/100th or even 1,000th of a degree, the coldness and consequences would be worlds apart. Once the temperature reached absolute zero, all energy movements would stop. Therefore, at that time, even a heaven-defying expert would die. In other words, even a martial sage expert would die under absolute zero. This was the law of the universe. However, as long as there was still 1,000th of a degree from absolute zero, a martial sage expert might not die and would be safe and sound. Therefore, in terms of numbers, the unfreezing water here and the unfreezing water in the abandoned mine were only a few numbers apart. However, the consequences were absolutely fatal. After diving 50 meters, Yang Dingtian not only lost his senses, even his spiritual sense was about to be completely shackled. His soul, will and life force were about to be completely devoured. Once his soul and life force were devoured, Yang Dingtian would be dead. At this moment, the bottom of the unfreezing pool was still far away. The unfreezing pool was fluorescent, so one could see very deep into it. However, it was still bottomless. Just as Yang Dingtian felt that he was going to be completely finished, that his vision was going to be completely dark, and that his soul was going to be completely destroyed, suddenly, a warm energy surged into his body. This energy actually came from Ah Chao's youngling sword. Ah Chao's youngling sword's divine sense had awakened. Yang Dingtian could clearly feel that it had awakened. It could not speak, and it could not really communicate with Yang Dingtian. However, Yang Dingtian still felt that it had awakened, because within the youngling sword, there seemed to be another energy that suddenly trembled, as if it was shivering. Ever since it devoured Qin Huaiju's demonic energy, Ah Chao's youngling sword seemed to have eaten its fill, and started to fall into a deep sleep. Now that it was hit by this bone-piercing cold, it actually woke up. After waking up, Ah Chao did not have time to communicate with Yang Dingtian. After shivering, it continuously sent fiery energy into Yang Dingtian's body. The fiery energy inside Ah Chao was extremely shocking. It must be known that other than the fiery energy that it usually devoured, the energy of the best quality earth fire was even greater. When Ah Chao's youngling sword was forged, more than half of the energy of the best quality earth fire was consumed. The best quality earth fire was nurtured in the fire attribute continent for 10 years, and only one best quality earth fire would blossom. It could be seen how shocking this energy was. Now nearly half of it was in Ah Chao's youngling sword. Therefore, Yang Dingtian immediately felt warm. Of course, this was only in a relative sense. Just like this, relying on the heat of Ah Chao's youngling sword, Yang Dingtian carried Dongfang Bingling on his back and continued to dive. 80 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, 500 meters. This unfreezing water really seemed to be bottomless. At that time, the unfreezing pond in the abandoned mine was only 200 meters deep, and the coldest place was 100 meters deep. And in this unfreezing pond, the deeper one went, the colder it got, and the closer it got to absolute zero. When he reached 800 meters, even with Ah Chao's youngling sword, Yang Dingtian's body started to stiffen again. When he reached 900 meters, Yang Dingtian once again lost all senses, and instinctively sank down. But Yang Dingtian was still filled with boundless willpower, and was looking forward to crossing the threshold of 1,000 meters. This unfreezing pond should not be more than 1,000 meters deep. After 1,000 meters, perhaps he would be safe. 950 meters, 960 meters, 970 meters, 980 meters. At this time, Yang Dingtian's willpower and soul were about to be swallowed and frozen again. He was really relying on his last bit of willpower, waiting to cross the last 1,000 meters. After crossing the last 1,000 meters, he would be victorious. After 1,000 meters, perhaps he would reach the warm zone, which would be the anti-gravity zone. 990 meters, 995 meters, 999 meters. Here, Ah Chao's youngling sword seemed to have stopped moving, as if it could no longer supply energy. 1,000 meters. Finally, he crossed 1,000 meters. Relying on his supreme willpower, Yang Dingtian crossed 1,000 meters. But what made him disappointed was that after crossing 1,000 meters, there was no warmth, no anti-gravity. He was still sinking, and it was still getting colder and colder. and the energy that Ah Cho could supply was getting weaker and weaker. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's vision turned black. He lost all senses, including his soul and willpower. After an unknown amount of time, Yang Dingtian woke up again and slowly opened his eyes. His soul, life force, and senses gradually began to recover from his body. His surroundings were very warm, and he was lying in a circular arc underground. Below him, there was a fiery red transparent crystal. The entire crystal was about 3 meters long and 2 meters wide. 2 meters above his head, there was a sparkling and translucent unfreezing water. Just now, after Yang Dingtian completely lost consciousness, he continued to sink and directly fell down from the unfreezing water. And he managed to keep his life. This fiery red crystal was emitting an endless amount of warm energy. That's right, it was only warm and not fiery. But it was enough to resist the unfreezing water that was more than 1,000 meters deep. After climbing up, Yang Dingtian discovered that, except for the circular arc crystal below him, the surroundings were all sparkling and translucent unfreezing water. In other words, this circular arc crystal was completely wrapped in unfreezing water. But it was not frozen, and was still emitting warm energy. It can be seen how miraculous this crystal was. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian constructed a rough structural diagram in his mind. Above this 3 meters long and 2 meters wide red crystal, there was unfreezing water that was 1,000 meters deep and 10,000 meters wide. Above the unfreezing water, there was an ice layer that was more than 1,000 meters thick. Above the ice layer, there was a lake that was a few hundred meters deep. Furthermore, the lake water was constantly freezing. When all the lake water was frozen, it would be the time for the heaven and earth mystic flame to bloom. But it was a pity that the place where the mystic flame bloomed would be guarded by Qin Huayu and the others. If Yang Dingtian went there, he would be courting death. However, Yang Dingtian was interested in something else. There was only one heaven and earth mystic flame, but there were 3 people. He didn't know how Qin Huayu, Dugu Fengwu, and Guda Wuhuan would distribute it. Of course, Yang Dingtian should be safe for now. At least, Qin Huayu, Guda Fengwu, and the others wouldn't be able to pass through this 1,000 meters deep unfreezing pool. After confirming this point, Yang Dingtian then went to check on Dongfang Bingling, who was lying at the side. At this moment, she was still covered in ice, and she wasn't breathing, but Yang Dingtian knew that she shouldn't be dead. Her body seemed to have been preserved by liquid nitrogen, and all life activities stopped, but she didn't die. If he wanted her to come back to life, he just needed to thaw her. As for how to thaw her, he just had to inject fiery energy into her body. After Yang Dingtian made some preparations, he placed his hand on her abdomen and started to inject fiery mystic qi. Instantly, it was like mud sinking into the sea, and there wasn't any movement. After 10 minutes, Yang Dingtian injected 1/3 of his mystic qi, but it didn't have any effect on Dongfang Bingling. Suddenly Dongfang Minmi said, "Child, don't try anymore. It's useless." Yang Dingtian said, "Master, according to theory, as long as I inject fire attribute energy, I can help her thaw." "The theory is correct." Dongfang Minmi smiled bitterly and said, "But Dongfang Bingling used the sacrifice to devour dozens of times her own ice-cold energy. And her mystic qi energy is 100 times more than yours. That means to say, with your current cultivation, even if you don't eat, drink, or cultivate, you will need 30 years to thaw her." 30 years? Yang Dingtian was completely stunned. According to what his master said, it was really useless. Yang Dingtian was willing to save Dongfang Bingling, but it was impossible to spend 30 years. "Master, what about Ah Cho? Is it enough?" Yang Dingtian asked. "Ah Cho will only provide you with energy. To Dongfang Bingling, it is just an ordinary bloody black gold sword." Dongfang Minmi said. "That means to say Dongfang Bingling can't be thawed and can't be revived?" Yang Dingtian said. "It depends on her luck." Dongfang Minmi said. "Luck?" Dongfang Minmi sighed and said, "That's right. Everything depends on her luck. If she is not destined to die, she can naturally revive. Otherwise." Following that, Dongfang Minmi said, "Child, you should quickly take the opportunity to cultivate mystic qi. I can feel that although the energy in this crystal is not strong, it is very pure. Even though it is fire attribute, there are not many impurities. If you use the transforming qi technique, you can completely refine it in your sea of qi. It will be much faster than cultivating outside. Chapter 255. Then Dongfang Minmi said, "Child, you should take this opportunity to cultivate your celestial qi. I can feel that although the energy in this crystal is not strong, it is very pure. Although it is of the fire attribute, there are not many impurities. You can use the qi transformation art to refine it in your qi sea. It will be much faster than cultivating outside." Then, Dongfang Minmi said helplessly, "Even if you can't get the mystic flame in the end, it's not bad to be able to cultivate and break through." "Yes, I can't come here for nothing." Yang Dingtian looked at Dongfang Bingling and said, "Whether you can recover or not will depend on your luck. I'm going to cultivate." Then, Yang Dingtian sat cross-legged on the ground, relaxed his mind, and began to cultivate. First, he used the pig-slaying swordsmanship's mystic absorption formula to absorb the celestial qi into his mystic meridians. Then, he used the qi transformation art to refine the fire attribute celestial qi into pure celestial qi, and guided it into his qi sea. Yang Dingtian was pleasantly surprised to find that although the celestial qi here was not as strong as outside, its purity was very, very high. After refining the celestial qi outside, only a few tenths of the pure celestial qi would enter his qi sea. But after refining, almost 80% of the celestial qi here could enter his qi sea. In other words, the cultivation speed here was more than 10 times faster than outside. At this time, Yang Dingtian would need at least half a year to break through one level if he cultivated normally. But here, he would only need about 20 days to break through one level. This speed was very shocking. Just like this, Yang Dingtian kept absorbing the celestial qi into his body. Then, he used the qi transformation art to guide the pure celestial qi into his qi sea. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 10 hours. This place was different from outside. Outside, only the purity of the celestial qi in the morning was relatively high. There was no need to refine the celestial qi at other times. After 12 hours, Yang Dingtian stopped cultivating. Because he was cultivating continuously, these 12 hours were equivalent to cultivating outside for more than a month. This red crystal was indeed very magical. The reason why he paused his cultivation was because the time for the mystic flame to bloom was getting closer and closer. In the end, his heart was unable to completely calm down. At this moment, Qin Huayu's group of 3 had surely returned to the place where the profound flame bloomed, and they'd surely noticed that Dongfang Bingling wasn't dead. They must have been searching everywhere by now. They might have even used the unfreezing water. However, the 3 of them shouldn't be able to pass through 1,000 meters of unfreezing water. Because these 3 people did not have the 9 yang profound veins, nor did they have the youngling sword that could transfer energy. The reason why Ah Cho could transfer energy to Yang Dingtian was because it had the primal chaos divine sense. And in this world, there was only Ah Cho who possessed a primal chaotic divine sense. Therefore, Yang Dingtian should be safe here. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and was about to continue cultivating with Ah Cho's youngling sword. Suddenly he found something strange. He found something strange on Dongfang Bingling. Taking a closer look, the ice on Dongfang Bingling's body had actually faded away. That's right, the ice on her body was originally on her forehead, but now it had reached her eyes. It was about an inch away from her original position. In 12 hours, the ice had faded away by an inch. Yang Dingtian understood that this was because of the red crystal. This crystal was constantly releasing fiery energy. Although it wasn't very strong, it was very pure, and it was completely endless. In 12 hours, it had actually faded away by an inch. At this rate, in another month, her body would be able to completely thaw and recover. Although this speed was still considered slow, it was much better than the original 30 years. Immediately, Yang Dingtian slowly closed his eyes and continued cultivating. Just like this, time passed by bit. Yang Dingtian's cultivation increased bit by bit, and the ice on Dongfang Bingling's body faded away bit by bit. Just when he thought that there was nothing to worry about, a sneer suddenly broke everything. Shen Lang, Miss Dongfang, you guys are really lucky. Gudu Wuhuan's unique voice rang in Yang Dingtian's ears. Yang Dingtian instantly opened his eyes. His body trembled as he quickly looked around. Could this Gudu Wuhuan be so powerful that he could actually pass through 1,000 meters of unfreezing water? The space around Yang Dingtian was very small. It was only a few square meters. Other than Dongfang Bingling, there was no one else. However, Gudu Wuhuan's voice really seemed to be beside his ears. Above his head was 1,000 meters deep unfreezing water. The entire unfreezing water was pure and flawless. It even emitted a natural fluorescent light. The visibility was very high, and there was no one in the water. Shen Lang, Miss Dongfang, I know that you guys are under the unfreezing water. Gudu Wuhuan sneered. You guys can't leave the lake. We have already searched every corner of the lake. Therefore, your only hiding place is under the unfreezing water. Yang Dingtian held his breath and didn't make any sound. Mr. Shen Lang, as everyone knows, once the second chapter of sacrifice is activated, it can't be interrupted. However, you actually interrupted it and saved Dongfang Bingling. Furthermore, you successfully passed through the unfreezing water. Gudu Wuhuan said, in this world, I really can't imagine anyone who can do this. Yang Dingtian ignored him. Gudu Wuhuan continued, once the sacrifice is activated, one's entire soul will be offered to the icy cold energy. One can condense energy that is 10 times stronger than one's body. If you want to stop the sacrifice, you have to penetrate the energy barrier on the sacrificer's body. Dongfang Bingling's cultivation is already close to the master level. Therefore, it is easy to imagine the level of energy that is 10 times stronger than her body. Even when Qin Huayu, Miss Gudu, and I worked together, we were still unable to penetrate her energy barrier. Even a master-level expert would find it hard to do this. However, only you were able to do it. Why is that so? Yang Dingtian still ignored him. However, there was already some uneasiness in his heart. The reason is very simple. Gudu Wuhuan said, because you used the lightning attribute mystic skill to knock out Dongfang Bingling. No matter if it's the fire attribute or ice attribute, they are unable to penetrate the sacrificer's energy barrier. Only the lightning attribute can. The lightning attribute mystic skill completely ignores any defense. Yang Dingtian's breathing instantly became hurried. Gudu Wuhuan continued, as everyone knows, who in this world knows the lightning attribute mystic skill? Of course, it's the hidden sex successor Wu Ming. However, the hidden sex successor, Wu Ming, is a fake. Then Mr. Shen Lang, it's very clear who you are, isn't it? Mr. Yang Dingtian. Finally, Gudu Wuhuan said Yang Dingtian's name. A person called Shen Lang actually risked his life to go to the northwest Qin city to cheat the Mystic Flames map. This is indeed somewhat unreasonable. However, if this person is Yang Dingtian, then everything is very reasonable, isn't it? Gudu Wuhuan said. Chapter 256. A person called Shen Lang actually risked his life to obtain the Mystic Flames map from the northwest Qin city. This is indeed illogical. However, if this person is Shen Lang, then everything makes sense, isn't it? Gudu Wuhuan said. Mr. Yang Dingtian, although we have never met, your reputation is like thunder to my ears. Uncle Duga Xiao has never praised anyone but you. He said that you are the #1 genius among the young people in the world. I didn't believe it at first, but now I really believe it. Because you are only a martial mystic realm expert, and you are able to pass through thousands of meters of unfreezing water. This is completely unimaginable. Yang Dingtian still didn't reply. Don't be like this. Say something. Suddenly Qin Huayu said, Mr. Yang Dingtian, you are really a sentimental person. Dongfang Bingling treated you so badly, but you are still so devoted to her. Aren't you afraid that my aunt will be sad? To be honest, Yang Dingtian, when you were in the Qin city, I really didn't recognize you. If it wasn't for Gudu Wuhuan's bold guess, I really wouldn't know that Shen Lang is Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath. It turned out that they weren't completely sure that he was Yang Dingtian. It was only because he interrupted Dongfang Bingling's sacrifice that they made a series of conjectures. Yang Dingtian, don't try to hide it anymore. Qin Huaiyu said. Now that this piece of paper has been poked open, I can recall some of the things that happened before. Now I know how you know that the other half of the Mystic Flames map is in my hands. Because when you were in the Cloud Heaven City, you pretended to be the young master of the hidden sect. When I was chatting with you, I showed you a few words from the Foxman race. These words happened to be on my half of the Mystic Flames map. At that time, you happened to have the other half of the Mystic Flames map. Therefore, you immediately confirmed that the other half of the Mystic Flames map was in my hands. Therefore, you went to the Western Zhou City and seduced my aunt Qin Mengli into the Northwest Qin City to obtain my half of the Mystic Flames map. I have to say your courage is really big, and your plan is really ingenious. Yang Dingtian, I've never taken you seriously before, but today, I'm really going to have a whole new level of respect for you. Whether it's talent or scheming, you're extremely amazing. It's a pity that you're too naive, so in the end, you were still played in the palm of my and my father's hands. Although you obtained the complete map of the Mystic Flame, you were used by us instead. You allowed us to successfully obtain the Mystic Flame, while you still have to die. Qin Huaiyu said. But I want to ask you a question. If you're Yang Dingtian, then how did you get the other half of the Mystic Flames map? I really can't think of anything. Yang Dingtian still didn't answer him. If the Mystic Flame map was obtained from Ningro, then she would be in danger. Originally, Yang Dingtian thought that Qin Huaiyu loved Ningro a lot, but now Qin Huaiyu was far more sinister than he imagined. Yang Dingtian, if you can answer my question, I'll repay you. I'll bury you and Dongfang Bingling in the same coffin. The two of you can't be together when you're alive, but you can be together forever after you die. Qin Huaiyu said. But if you don't tell me, then I'm very sorry. Dongfang Bingling is the #1 beauty among geniuses, and she's also the fairy of the 9 heavens. I'm completely drooling over her. After killing her, I don't mind having this #1 beauty in the world again, even if it's already torn apart. When these words came out, Yang Dingtian was instantly filled with endless anger. He really couldn't imagine that Qin Huaiyu could be so devilish that he had no bottom line. Do you think you'll be safe and sound if you hide under the unfreezing pool? Qin Huaiyu sneered. That's right. It's indeed very difficult for us to pass through the unfreezing pool with our profound veins. But do you know that there's something that can release an incomparably powerful heat, in a short period of time, that can help us pass through the unfreezing pool? That's a fire-type demon core that's over 1,000 years old. The heat it releases is enough for us to pass through the unfreezing pool. Right now, Dongfang Bingling's entire body should be frozen. Although she's alive, she's still dead. Once any one of us passes through the unfreezing pool, killing all of you will be as easy as flipping our hands. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's heart jumped. That's right. A fire-type demon core that's over 1,000 years old might not be comparable to Yang Dingtian's Youngling sword in terms of pure energy. But after using a special technique, it could release an extremely powerful fiery energy in a short period of time. It could indeed help Qin Huaiyu pass through the unfreezing pool. Of course, Yang Dingtian's spatial ring also had the fire Qilance demon core, and the energy it released was enough for a person to pass through the unfreezing pool. But while Qin Huaiyu could use it, Yang Dingtian couldn't. The reason was simple. The energy released by a 1,000-year demon core was extremely shocking. With Qin Huaiyu's cultivation, she could withstand it, but Yang Dingtian couldn't. The result would be similar to the backlash from the brutal sword spirit in the Cloud Heaven City. A 1,000-year fire-type demon core was obviously extremely precious, but no matter if it was the Qin City, the Temple of Blood, or the Joyless Palace, they definitely didn't lack it. But be it Qin Huaiyu, Dugu Fengwu, or Guda Wuhuan, none of them would bring a 1,000-year demon core with them. That's right. No one would bring a 1,000-year fire-type demon core with them for no reason. Qin Huaiyu said. Therefore, young Lady Dugu Fengwu left this place and went to the Foxman race to make a deal. The massive Foxman race shouldn't lack a 1,000-year fire-type demon core. Furthermore, the value of the treasure she used to make the deal far exceeds 1,000-year fire-type demon core. Therefore, the Foxman race shouldn't have any reason to reject her. Soon enough, she will bring back 1,000-year fire-type demon core. When that time comes, it will be the time of death for you and Dongfang Bingling. At this moment, Yang Dingtian understood why he didn't hear Dugu Fengwu's voice. It was because she went to the Foxman race to make a deal for 1,000-year fire-type demon core. During this period of time, Yang Dingtian didn't think about Dugu Fengwu's matters. For example, why did she tell Qin Huayu that Yang Dingtian was the hidden sex disciple, Wu Ming? Did she recognize that Shen Lang was Yang Dingtian? Wait a minute. But from the looks of it, Dugu Fengwu was far more heartless to Yang Dingtian than he imagined. Putting aside the fact that Dugu Fengwu killed Yang Dingtian in the Five Elements Hall Hidden Realm, she was already heartless. Now that even Qin Huayu had guessed that Shen Lang was Yang Dingtian, Dugu Fengwu naturally knew as well. She actually went to the Foxman race to make a deal for 1,000-year fire-type demon core. Her goal was to cross the unfreezing pool and kill Yang Dingtian and Dongfang Bingling. This woman was indeed callous and decisive to the extreme. Things have already come to this point, and you are still not willing to speak? Are you still holding on to hope? Qin Huayu sneered and said, "All right then. There are still 23 hours before the mystic flame blooms. I believe young Lady Dugu will be back with 1,000-year fire-type demon core very soon. When that time comes, we will meet again and have a good chat." After that, Qin Huayu and Gudu Wuhuan didn't speak anymore. There were still 25 hours before the mystic flame blooms, and Dugu Fengwu might be back with 1,000-year fire-type demon core at any moment. At this moment, Yang Dingtian naturally didn't have any thoughts of cultivating. He had to immediately think of a way to resolve this crisis. Right at this moment, there was a sudden sound from the unfreezing pool above. The pool then shook as though someone had jumped in. Yang Dingtian instantly focused his eyes and tried his best to look up through the thick layer of unfreezing water. Of course, the unfreezing water might be sparkling and translucent, and it had a faint fluorescent glow. However, it was 1,000 meters deep, and the visibility was at most 200 meters. If he looked any further, he wouldn't be able to see anything. However, the sound could still be heard clearly. It was the sound of a person diving down, and he was getting closer and closer to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian's heart was beating faster and faster. He instantly gripped his artifact sword tightly and was prepared to fight at any moment, even though this battle might be like an egg striking a rock. That sound was getting closer and closer to Yang Dingtian. 800 meters. Soon enough, this person had passed through the limit that Yang Dingtian's physical body could endure. 700 meters, 600 meters, 500 meters. Finally, when he was 500 meters away from Yang Dingtian, the sound paused for a moment. After that, the sound of swimming continued, but it was getting further and further away. It was obvious that to that person, 500 meters was already his limit. Therefore, he didn't dare to dive any further, and could only float upwards. Yang Dingtian didn't know who this person was, but to be able to dive 500 meters, that person had already surpassed Yang Dingtian. Not long later, another person jumped into the unfreezing pool. Even though Yang Dingtian knew that without the 1,000-year fire attribute demon core, they wouldn't be able to pass through the unfreezing water, he couldn't help but feel nervous. As expected, at the same depth of 500 meters, that person had already stopped diving and started to float upwards. It was obvious that Qin Huayu and Gudu Wuhuan had both tried it once. Both of their cultivations were about the same, and they both stopped at around 500 meters. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath. I can't let this continue. I can't sit here and wait for death. Once that demonic woman, Dugu Fengwu, brought the 1,000-year fire attribute demon core, Yang Dingtian would be dead. Previously, when it was still Shen Lang, they weren't even prepared to let him go. Now that they knew that it was Yang Dingtian, they were even more determined to kill him. Whether it was Qin Huayu or Gudu Wuhuan, Yang Dingtian might be second only to Dongfang Bingling on the list of people they had to kill. They might even be on par with her. Therefore, Yang Dingtian had to save himself. Yang Dingtian reported the matter to Dongfang Minmi and said, Master, Dugafengwu should have only obtained a 1,000-year fire attribute demon core. That means that only one person can pass through the unfreezing water. However, no matter which of the three of them come down, they can easily kill me. The only way now is to let Dongfang Bingling recover in advance. This way, no matter which one of them comes down, not only will they not be able to kill us, they will also die under the sword of Dongfang Bingling. That's right, Qin Huayu, Dugufengwu, and Guda Wuhuan weren't a match for Dongfang Bingling. Note: brothers, please give me some monthly votes. Chapter 257. Therefore, if Yang Dingtian did not want to die, the only way was to wake up Dongfang Bingling. This world was really bizarre. Previously, for Yang Dingtian, Dongfang Bingling was his enemy who competed with him for the heaven and earth level mysterious fire. Now for Yang Dingtian, Dongfang Bingling was his big savior. Master, is there any way to thaw Dongfang Bingling in the shortest time possible? Yang Dingtian asked. Dongfang Minmi fell into silence. Master, can we use holy water? Yang Dingtian asked. Holy water is useless. Dongfang Minmi said. Holy water can almost bring the dead back to life. But Dongfang Bingling is not dead. She is not even seriously injured. She is just frozen. Is there any other way, no matter what it is? Yang Dingtian said. Whether it is righteous or evil, it will work. If we don't wake up Dongfang Bingling in advance, the two of us will definitely die. Dongfang Minmi was still silent. However, this silence gave Yang Dingtian a glimmer of hope. Master, you still have a way, right? Yang Dingtian said. No matter what it is, you should tell me first. Dongfang Minmi sighed and said, There is a way, but I don't know if it will work, because I have never encountered such a situation. I just thought of a way theoretically. Then Dongfang Minmi said tirelessly, Inputting qi or lying on the crystal stone to receive the fiery energy are external effects. We have estimated that it will take about a month to use this crystal stone. Dongfang Minmi said. Then if we thaw it from the inside to the outside, it may be faster. How do you go from inside to outside? Yang Dingtian asked. Child, you have the 9 young profound veins. Your terrifying body itself carries a very special energy. Therefore, my method is to directly transfuse your blood into Dongfang Bingling's body. This might work. Dongfang Minmi said. Do you still remember Horror Mountain Villa? Zhao Mu was poisoned by the frost poison, and his cultivation was destroyed. You only used a little bit of your blood to completely cure the cold poison in his body. This is because you have 9 young profound veins. Therefore, your blood contains a very special kind of energy. Just a little bit is enough to transform Zhao Mu's blood. It's like a seed. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, and in the end, Zhao Mu's blood is completely transformed, filling it with fiery energy. That way, Zhao Mu can use his own blood to expel the cold poison from his body. But, Dongfang Minmi continued, Dongfang Bingling and Zhao Mu are completely different. Zhao Mu himself has the fire attribute talent. When your 9 young blood enters his body, it will be twice the result with half the effort. And Dongfang Bingling has the ice attribute profound veins talent. Moreover, compared to Zhao Mu, who knows how much higher her talent is. In this world, her talent might be second only to you. Therefore, after your blood enters her body, it will inevitably cause a violent rejection. I don't dare to imagine what kind of consequences this rejection will cause. And most importantly, Dongfang Bingling's talent is second only to you. So, how much blood do you need to pay to revive her? Also, after your 9 sons' blood enters her body, will it wantonly melt away her cultivation? All of this is unknown. After saying that, Dongfang Minmi fell into silence again. Yang Dingtian also fell into silence. That's right, Dongfang Minmi did not say this method just now. It is completely reasonable. Not to mention, this method has never been tried before. And it is completely theoretical. Moreover, the consequences would be very shocking. Most importantly, it is still unknown if it is useful. Time continued to elapse by the minute and second. Yang Dingtian sat beside Dongfang Bingling. Right now, there are only 20 hours before the mystic flame blooms. But Dugu Fengwu should not be back yet. But she will eventually come back. Therefore, with every second that elapsed, Yang Dingtian was 1 second closer to death. The method to revive Dongfang Bingling was very simple. He just needed to directly transfuse his blood. But the consequences were too shocking, and the success rate was too low. There might not even be a 10% chance of success. At this moment, Yang Dingtian fell into a struggle of life and death. He needed to gamble again. Even though he didn't like to gamble, reality often forced him to gamble. On the left, he didn't do anything and just sat there waiting. He bet that Dugu Fengwu wouldn't be able to get the 1,000-year fire attribute demon core. As long as they didn't get the 1,000-year fire attribute demon core, they wouldn't be able to pass through the unfreezing water. Yang Dingtian wouldn't die for now. But since Qin Huayu and Gudu Wuhuan were so confident, the possibility of Dugu Fengwu not getting the 1,000-year fire attribute demon core was very small. Even if they couldn't get the 1,000-year fire attribute demon core, Yang Dingtian might still be killed by them. When the mystic flame blooms, it is hard to say if the 1,000-year unfreezing water will still exist. According to Ba Bai, when the mystic flame blooms, a tall mountain will grow out from the lake. It will be half fire and half ice. Even if the unfreezing water still exists, Qin Huayu and the other two just need to refine the heaven and earth mystic flame and have no fear of the unfreezing water. They will be able to pass through the unfreezing water easily. By then, Yang Dingtian will still be killed. On the right side, Yang Dingtian transfused his blood into Dongfang Bingling's body. But according to Yang Dingtian's estimation, the success rate wouldn't be more than 10%, and the consequences would be unimaginable. But ever since he came to this world, Yang Dingtian had lost count of how many times he gambled. Basically, the success rate wouldn't be more than 10%, and he had narrowly escaped death countless times. Every time he gambled, it was with his own life. Once he lost, he would die. It was unknown if Yang Dingtian was blessed by the heavens, or if he wasn't afraid of death. Yang Dingtian had never lost in such life and death gambles, because he was still alive. In fact, in every previous gamble, Yang Dingtian's success rate wouldn't be more than 10%, but Yang Dingtian won every single time. Then what about this time? Time continued to elapse. There were still 19 hours before the mystic flame blooms. 18 hours. 17 hours. There wasn't much time left for Yang Dingtian. Dugu Fengwu would be back at any time. Yang Dingtian stared at Dongfang Bingling's beautiful face. At this moment, the ice had already retreated to her nose. This speed was even slower than a snail. Yang Dingtian's breathing became more and more rapid, and his heart beat faster and faster. If it was in the past, he might have already made a decision. But now, almost 10 hours had passed, and he still hadn't made a decision. Because this decision wasn't just about him, but also about him and Dongfang Bingling. Dongfang Minmi didn't say a word, and left all the decision-making power to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian's heart was beating so fast that it started to hurt. His breathing was so rapid that he couldn't breathe. I'm going all out. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian smashed out a fist. Then, he stared at Dongfang Bingling and said, "Junior sister, this is the first time I call you junior sister after falling out with you. This time, I will make the decision for you." "Master, I have decided," Yang Dingtian said. "Use my blood to wake Dongfang Bingling up. No matter what the consequences are, I will accept it. Even if Dongfang Bingling kills me the moment she wakes up, I will accept it." Dongfang Minmi said, "No matter what decision you make, Master will support you." Once the decision was made, Yang Dingtian started to prepare everything. No matter what the consequences were, he would accept it. The preparation was very simple. A jade tube would do. He helped Dongfang Bingling up and sat cross-legged. Then he sat opposite of Dongfang Bingling. He pierced one end of the jade tube into the vein on Dongfang Bingling's wrist. At this moment, Dongfang Bingling's blood was confined and didn't flow at all. In fact, it was completely frozen. At this moment, Yang Dingtian's hope was lowered by a little. But since the decision had been made, no matter what, he had to continue. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and pierced the other end of the jade tube into the vein on his wrist. Yang Dingtian's blood was no doubt surging. After piercing the vein, the blood rushed directly into the jade tube and poured into Dongfang Bingling's blood. Chapter 258. Thump. Attached to Dongfang Bingling's chest, Yang Dingtian heard her heartbeat. At the same time, the icy energy wrapped around Dongfang Bingling's delicate body seemed to silently shatter. Fortunately, the third electric shock was successful, and Dongfang Bingling's heartbeat finally recovered. Yang Dingtian, who was ecstatic, almost burst into tears. However, the person who dived into the unfreezing water was getting closer and closer. Yang Dingtian had no time to be happy. First, he used his body to cover Dongfang Bingling, and then he used the fastest speed to put on Dongfang Bingling's clothes, so that the person who came would not see any inch of her snow-white skin below her neck. Then he pinched her nose and began to perform artificial respiration on Dongfang Bingling. Yes, Dongfang Bingling's heartbeat had recovered, but her breathing had not. Without breathing, she would soon die for real. Although he knew that the timing was not right, his heart still jumped the moment he touched Dongfang Bingling's lips. But in less than half a second, Yang Dingtian quickly inhaled. Once, twice. Then he pressed her chest. Then again inhaling. Bang! There was a gust of wind behind him, and a figure suddenly rushed out of the unfreezing water. At the same time, Dongfang Bingling's beautiful eyes suddenly opened. There was a trace of surprise, disbelief, anger, and soaring murderous intent. Yang Dingtian did not hesitate at all, and without any explanation, he used his fastest speed to dodge. He saw Dongfang Bingling lying on the ground, raising her jade palm and slamming it into the air. Yang Dingtian used his fastest speed to dodge to the corner. It was not that he was afraid of death, but for him, a confrontation between martial venerables was really not something he could participate in. After dodging to a corner, Yang Dingtian saw that at the same time as Dongfang Bingling's palm strike, that person had just jumped out of the unfreezing pool. His face was pale. Although he had a 1,000-year fire-type demon core, crossing the 1,000-meter unfreezing pool was still an extremely terrifying test for him. The moment he jumped out of the unfreezing pool, he saw the awakened Dongfang Bingling's palm strike coming at him. Instantly, his handsome face revealed an inconceivable shock, and he instinctively struck out with his palm to fight back against Dongfang Bingling. At this moment, Yang Dingtian's face was also filled with shock. The one who jumped out of the unfreezing pool wasn't Qin Huayu, Gudu Wuhuan, or Dugufengwu. However, he was also one of Yang Dingtian's acquaintances and an enemy. Why would Yan Biaqin appear here? However, Qin Huayu and Gudu Wuhuan weren't a match for Dongfang Bingling, let alone Yan Biaqin. If both parties were to clash this time, there would only be one outcome, and that would be Yan Biaqin's death. Bang! There was a sudden loud sound. The enormous energy from the palm strike burst out. Yang Dingtian's chest was shaken by the aftershock, and he vomited a mouthful of blood while his entire body was sent flying. However, the space here was too small, and he couldn't fly anywhere. He immediately made a spin in the air and fell back to the corner. However, Yang Dingtian was completely stupefied by the battle in front of him. Dongfang Bingling's delicate body was sent flying while she vomited a mouthful of blood in the air. Her soft body then smashed onto Yang Dingtian's body. How could this be? Dongfang Bingling was so powerful. How could she be sent flying? Yang Dingtian didn't have time to think as he quickly hugged onto Dongfang Bingling's delicate body and couldn't help but get smashed again. After Dongfang Bingling was hugged by Yang Dingtian, she vomited another mouthful of blood and immediately fainted. It was unknown if she was dead or alive. Looking at Yan Biaqin, his face was filled with shock after he landed on the ground, but he wasn't injured at all. Not only Yang Dingtian, but even Yan Biaqin was stupefied. To be honest, when he jumped down and saw Dongfang Bingling's palm strike, he only had one thought in his mind. My life is over. That palm strike of his was completely instinctive. However, the result was something he never expected. Yan Biaqin's palm strike sent Dongfang Bingling flying while she vomited blood. It was unknown if she was dead or alive. As for Yan Biaqin, he was perfectly fine and wasn't injured at all. Looking at Dongfang Bingling who was in his embrace, Yang Dingtian, recalled that Dongfang Bingling's palm strike didn't seem to have any energy. That's right, his blood transfusion had thawed Dongfang Bingling and allowed her to wake up in a short period of time. However, his tyrannical 9 yang blood had also caused Dongfang Bingling's cultivation to vanish without a trace. Therefore, that palm strike of hers didn't have any energy and didn't cause any harm to Yan Biaqin. Therefore, Dongfang Bingling didn't even wake up for 2 to 3 seconds before she fainted again. Yan Biaqin first took a glance at Dongfang Bingling before looking at his own palm. His face, which had been absolutely pale, gradually regained its color. Yang Dingtian placed Dongfang Bingling on the ground and took out his Sky Devil battle saber. He stood up and asked, Yan Biaqin, why is it you? Why can't it be me? Yan Biaqin said, I am young lord's absolute confidant. Is it strange for me to come to the Dongli grassland with you? Yang Dingtian said, even if that's the case, you can come to the Dongli grassland. However, there's no reason for you to come here. This place is Qin Huayu's top secret. That's right. So that's the case. Yan Biaqin said. However, I coincidentally encountered young lady Duga Fengwu, who was being pursued by the Foxman race's experts. I joined the battle and helped her escape. As a result, I followed her to the central lake of the burial ground. Yang Dingtian said, you shouldn't be the one to kill me and Dongfang Bingling. Why isn't it Qin Huayu or Guda Wuhuan? Yan Biaqin said, because that Foxman race's absolute expert had also chased after us. This person is extremely powerful. Even 2 martial supreme experts had to fight against him. Therefore, young Lord Qin, young Lady Dugu, and Mr. Gudu had to work together to not be defeated. Among the 4 of them, my cultivation was the weakest. Of course, I was sent to kill you. No wonder. Yang Dingtian asked, who is that Foxman race's absolute expert? Yan Biaqin said, the Foxman race's patriarch. Because Duga Fengwu had snatched away their race's 1,000-year-old fire attribute demon core, he chased after us. Yang Dingtian's eyes shrunk. Then who are you? Why are you Qin Huayu's trusted aide? I am Yan Biaqin. Yan Biaqin laughed. As for why I am his trusted aide, I have been with him for more than 10 years. Is this reason enough? Yang Dingtian asked. Then why didn't Qin City know of your existence before this? Yan Biaqin said, because I am Lord's most important chess piece. Therefore, almost no one knew of my existence before this. Of course, you will soon see the use of this chess piece. Then what are your intentions for getting close to Qin Mingli? Yang Dingtian asked. Yan Biaqin said, Lord dotes on his younger sister. Therefore, he gave her an astonishing amount of wealth. However, young Lord wants to grasp this portion of wealth in his own hands. Is this reason enough? Yang Dingtian nodded. This reason was definitely sufficient. What is your cultivation level? Yang Dingtian asked. 1-star revered martial artist. Yan Biaqin replied. In an instant, Yang Dingtian was appalled. He didn't expect this person to be so powerful. With regards to this mysterious Yan Biaqin, Yang Dingtian had some guesses about his cultivation level. However, he only guessed that he was a martial ancestor realm expert. He didn't expect this person to be a 1-star revered martial artist. This person might not be comparable to Dongfang Bingling, but killing Yang Dingtian was as easy as blowing off dust. Furthermore, Yang Dingtian had already exhausted a large portion of his mystic qi and lost 1/3 of his blood. Even if the other party was a 9-star martial mystic, Yang Dingtian wasn't a match for him. Moreover, this person was a 1-star revered martial artist. His cultivation was more than 10 times that of Yang Dingtian. There was no way he could put up a fight. To be honest, even if Yang Dingtian risked being annihilated and controlled the brutal sword spirit to attack him, he wouldn't be able to cause any harm to him. Of course, Yang Dingtian could use the evil soul art. However, he couldn't find any powerful puppet battle soul within the soul tool. Therefore, Yang Dingtian only had one method to deal with this person. Yang Dingtian had once used this method on Wu Xingwen. How about we make a deal? Yang Dingtian said slowly. Yang Dingtian was almost certain that there shouldn't be any evil person in this world who could resist the temptation of the evil soul art. At that time, Wu Xingwen was turned into an idiot by the modified soul burst art. Now, it could be used on Yin Biaqin. Even though he claimed to be Qin Huaiyu's trusted aide, Yang Dingtian could feel his wild ambition. However, there weren't any powerful puppet battle souls within the soul tool ring. Therefore, Yang Dingtian needed to modify the soul assimilating art. He needed Yin Biaqin to extract his soul spirit. Of course, this was a very difficult task. It wasn't like when he was dealing with Wu Xingwen. Yin Biaqin had to let Wu Xingwen see the power of the soul assimilating art before he could gain Wu Xingwen's trust and make him use the modified soul burst art. Now it would be extremely difficult to make Yin Biaqin use the modified evil soul art to extract his soul spirit. Yin Biaqin was probably much more cunning than Wu Xingwen. After Yang Dingtian finished talking about the deal, Yin Biaqin didn't reply. Yang Dingtian repeated, "Yin Biaqin, how about we make a deal?" "Deal?" Yin Biaqin sneered. "Use the soul tool ring and the evil soul art to seduce me. Use the same method you used on Wu Xingwen to deal with me? Let me beat myself into an idiot? Do you think I'm that stupid?" Yang Dingtian. For a moment, Yang Dingtian was speechless. Before he could say his plan, it was seen through by Yin Biaqin, and he was forced to retreat. Yang Dingtian had never encountered such a situation before. It seemed like this Yin Biaqin was indeed Qin Huaiyu's trusted aide. He even knew about Wu Xingwen's top secret. Furthermore, it seemed like Dugu Fengwu and Qin Huaiyu's relationship had reached a certain level. Only Dugu Fengwu knew about Wu Xingwen and Yang Dingtian's evil soul art. She actually told Qin Huaiyu about such top secrets. For a moment, Yang Dingtian smiled helplessly and said, "It seems like young Lord Qin and Demon Lady Duga's relationship is much closer than I imagined." Note, requesting for a few monthly votes. Chapter 259. Immediately, Yang Dingtian smiled helplessly. "It seems like young Lord Qin and Demon Lady Duga's relationship is much closer than I imagined." "Of course," Yin Biaqin said. "For the sake of Qin City, young Lord has given the heaven and earth mystic flame that only appears once every 200 years to Lady Dugu. How can they not be close?" "Indeed generous," Yang Dingtian said. Originally, Yang Dingtian was hoping that the three of them would have internal strife because of the mystic flame. Now it was impossible because they had already decided on the ownership of the mystic flame. Qin Huaiyu wasn't the only generous one. Gudu Wuhuan was also willing to give up a treasure like the mystic flame. However, it was obvious that Qin City would never do business that incurred a loss. Since they gave up the mystic flame, it was obvious that they had obtained something incomparably precious. "All right, we are done with the small talk. It's time for proper business," Yin Biaqin said. "You and I might be rivals in love, but we are still acquaintances. Let me give you a choice. Should I kill you first before killing Dongfang Bingling? Or should I kill Dongfang Bingling first before killing you?" Yang Dingtian smiled helplessly. "Then, you should kill me first." "You are indeed a hero." Yin Biaqin smiled and slowly drew his sword. "All right, before you make your move, I have a request," Yang Dingtian said. "Please speak." Yin Biaqin said. "Please don't profane Dongfang Bingling's body. Let her die innocently," Yang Dingtian said. Yin Biaqin said, "Don't worry. Even though I am drooling over Fairy Dongfang's body, I value my life more than anything else. But I value my life even more. If the young master finds out that I ate Dongfang Bingling, then I'll be dead. You should know about young lord's possessiveness. Then I am relieved." Yang Dingtian slowly raised the Sky Devil Battle Saber and circulated the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber art. The other party was a 1-star Martial Honorable, while Yang Dingtian was only a 1-star Martial Profound. There was absolutely no need for this battle. However, even if Yang Dingtian were to die, he was unwilling to be killed in such a cowardly manner. Even if he were to die, he would die in battle. "Come then, Yin Biaqin," Yang Dingtian yelled out. Suddenly, the Sky Demon Battle Blade in his hand burned. He circulated all the profound qi in his body. The whole Heavenly Demon Battle Blade suddenly burst out with a bright light. Yin Biaqin clenched his fist lightly, and the sharp sword in his hand suddenly turned blood red and transparent. It burst forth with an energy suppression that was as heavy as Mount Tai. That's right, he was a martial honorable. Just the energy pressure from holding the sword was like the weight of Mount Tai, causing Yang Dingtian's heavenly demon saber to be unable to breathe. 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art's third saber move, Devil Flame Prison Splitting Saber. Yang Dingtian had never tried this move before. But this time, Yang Dingtian did not hold back at all. He poured all the profound qi in his body into the heavenly devil saber. Even if he were to die in battle, he had to give it his all. Come on, kill! Yang Dingtian suddenly yelled out, and cleaved with the sky devil flame saber in his hand. Roar! Suddenly, the entire space turned blood red and dark. The entire space seemed to have turned into hell. The enormous dark blood-red flaming blade was aimed at Yin Biaqin's head and cleaved down. This was the limit of Yang Dingtian's profound qi, the limit of his energy. If the opponent was a 5-star martial mystic, even if he was 4 levels higher than Yang Dingtian, he would still be able to withstand the heavenly devil saber's attack. Yang Dingtian could say that the opponent would definitely be injured if not dead when facing the devil calamity prison splitting blade. Just as Yang Dingtian cleaved down with all his strength, Yin Biaqin's sword also cleaved down lightly. His sword burst out with purplish-red radiance. In an instant, Yang Dingtian's enormous dark red flaming blade struck against Yin Biaqin's purplish radiance. From the looks of it, Yang Dingtian's flaming blade was so astonishing that it seemed to have engulfed the entire space. It was like hell that wanted to devour everything. On the other hand, Yin Biaqin's purplish sword radiance was only as thick as a finger and 2 to 3 feet long. However, when that terrifying dark red flaming blade met the purplish sword radiance, it was like snow that was poured over with boiling water. It instantly melted without a trace. Yang Dingtian had used all his strength in this saber attack. It was the strongest move of the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art. However, it had been dissolved by Yin Biaqin's light sword and melted into nothingness. Yang Dingtian had already expected this outcome. However, when he saw it for himself, he couldn't help but feel shocked. At this moment, the difference between Yin Biaqin and Yang Dingtian was like the difference between heaven and earth. After that blue sword radiance destroyed Yang Dingtian's mystic skill, Flaming Blade, it didn't seem to have any damage, and cleaved down towards Yang Dingtian's head. Even though Yang Dingtian didn't have much profound qi left, he still desperately circulated all his profound qi, and circulated the fire transformation art of the yin-yang qi transformation art. He wanted to dissolve Yin Biaqin's sword radiance. Of course, by relying on Yang Dingtian's current fire transformation art, he should be able to dissolve 10% of Yin Biaqin's sword radiance. Yin Biaqin's sword radiance could be said to be completely undamaged. There would only be one outcome if it slashed onto Yang Dingtian's body, which was to turn him into ashes and shatter his bones into pieces. Of course, there might be people who were wondering why Yang Dingtian didn't use the Thunder Attribute Mystic skill. The reason was that the Thunder Attribute Mystic skill could shock and deceive people, but its power of injuring people was inferior to the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art. It was almost instantaneous. Yin Biaqin's sword radiance cleaved onto Yang Dingtian's head. Yang Dingtian widened his eyes and circulated the Qi transformation art before slashing out. Farewell, Yin Yin. Farewell, Ning Ning. Farewell, everyone who cares about me. I have disappointed you. Am I unresigned? Or am I liberated? Instantly, countless thoughts surged in his mind. He was about to turn into ashes and shatter his bones into pieces. It was as though there were countless thoughts in his mind. It was as though he wasn't thinking about anything and was waiting for the final moment to arrive. The sword radiance cleaved onto Yang Dingtian's head, causing a radiance to explode. The entire narrow space was filled with a glaring radiance. Yang Dingtian didn't die. After that fatal sword radiance cleaved onto Yang Dingtian's head, it immediately vanished without a trace. After that, the entire space fell into silence. Yang Dingtian escaped from death, but there wasn't any joy on his face. Why? Yang Dingtian asked slowly. Yin Biaqin shrugged his shoulders. Why didn't you kill me? Yang Dingtian continued asking. Yin Biaqin said, It's not time yet. I can't kill you now. When? Yang Dingtian asked. You will know when the time comes. Yan Biaqin said. When the time comes, you will also know who my true identity is. Yang Dingtian said. But if you don't kill me, your master won't let you off. Yan Biaqin said. He didn't intend to let me live in the first place. Do you know that I only brought a fire-type demon core of 500 years? It can allow me to cross 1,000 meters of the unfreezing pond to kill you. However, its energy has been completely exhausted. I can't leave this place and can't get out. Yang Dingtian was startled before he nodded. That's right. This is indeed Qin Huayu's style. Even though Yan Biaqin was Qin Huayu's trusted aide, whether it was killing Dongfang Bingling or colluding with evil ways, they were all Qin Huayu's greatest secrets. Now that Yan Biaqin knew of this secret, he could only die. Therefore, Yan Biaqin could only bring along a 500-year-old fire attribute demon core. After killing Yang Dingtian and Dongfang Bingling, he would be trapped here forever, unable to leave. Even if he were to leave, there would only be one outcome: death. Even though he was Qin Huayu's trusted aide and had followed Qin Huayu for more than 10 years, Qin Huayu obviously wouldn't trust anyone. Yan Biaqin said, I was hiding by Qin Huayu's side. Originally, I intended to do this until I was strong enough, until I could do everything that I wanted to do, until I could truly take back everything that belonged to me. Only then would I reveal my true self. But now I don't need to. He wants me to die, so I can be myself in advance. Therefore, I let you off. I won't kill you today. Yan Biaqin laughed. Therefore, Yang Dingtian, you owe me a favor. Yang Dingtian asked, what about Dongfang Bingling? Her, Yan Biaqin said. If you didn't kill her, then she wouldn't. Leaving her alive would allow her to kill everyone in Qin City. Wouldn't that be better? Even though Yan Biaqin's tone was indifferent, Yang Dingtian could still hear the bone-deep hatred towards Qin City. For a moment, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but feel even more curious. Who exactly was this Yan Biaqin? Why was he a servant by Qin Huayu's side for more than 10 years? Why did he hate Qin City to the bone? There was also that sentence he said, wait until I have the ability to take back everything that belonged to me. All of this meant that Yan Biaqin had a very special identity. Then who was he? That's right. I owe you a favor. Yang Dingtian said solemnly. Yan Biaqin smiled faintly. When the time comes, I want you to return it. Furthermore, I will make you return a lot and a lot. Yang Dingtian said. When the time comes, I will return it. However, if you don't kill me, what are you going to do next? How are you going to escape? You have to give me something. Yan Biaqin said. What is it? Yang Dingtian asked. Demon Core, the Fire Qilance Demon Core. Yan Biaqin said. Terror Mountain Village's Zhao Mu gave his father's failed soul sword to you. There is a brutal sword spirit inside. That sword is embedded with the Fire Qilance Demon Core. Although the Demon Core was damaged during the battle between you and Qin Huayu, it can still be used. It can allow me to pass through 1,000 meters of unfreezing water and leave this place. Yang Dingtian's eyes instantly shrunk. This Yan Biaqin really knew a lot. However, after Yang Dingtian handed over the revolving Fire Qilance Demon Core, would he immediately kill Yang Dingtian? Previously, he let Yang Dingtian go because he wanted to obtain the Fire Qilance Demon Core. Alright, I will give it to you. Yang Dingtian didn't even hesitate and immediately agreed. Many thanks. Yan Biaqin said. Can I ask you to turn around? I need to take out this Fire Qilance Demon Core. Yang Dingtian said. Alright. Yan Biaqin immediately turned around and closed his eyes. Yang Dingtian also turned around and took out the Night Owl Giant Sword from the spatial displacement. On the hilt of the giant sword, there were 2 demon cores stuck together. They were the 1,000-Year Owl's Demon Core and the Fire Qilance Demon Core. Yang Dingtian took out his youngling sword and slashed down at the Night Owl Giant Sword. Chapter 260. Yang Dingtian took out his youngling sword and aimed at the Night Owl Huge Sword and slashed down. The Night Owl Huge Sword was completely indestructible. There might not be any weapon in this world that could damage it. However, the youngling sword was an exception. It might be the only youngling sword that was above the absolute grade in this world. With a loud sound, The two demon cores were slashed down by the youngling's sword and fell to the ground. Ayo! Instantly, the night owl huge sword let out a strange cry. It sounded like a monster or a malicious spirit. Within the spatial zone, there was a burst of energy. This was because the demon core and the sword body had been completely separated. This brutal sword spirit had been completely destroyed and dissipated. Originally, Yang Dingtian planned to use this brutal sword spirit to nurture the sword spirit after forging a true sword spirit. However, it was impossible now. Yang Dingtian had directly destroyed this sword spirit. After that, Yang Dingtian placed the night owl huge sword into the spatial zone. However, it was a little troublesome now. Yang Dingtian could separate the demon core and the huge sword. However, the two demon cores were intertwined with each other. It was impossible to separate them with Ah Chao's youngling sword. If Yang Dingtian slashed down, there was no need to talk about whether he could split the demon core. Even if he could, the demon core would be completely shattered. A shattered demonic core was useless. Master, how do I separate the two demon cores that are intertwined with each other? Yang Dingtian asked. Dongfang Minmi replied, very simple. Just place it in the unfreezing pool. Yang Dingtian was startled. He then threw the strangely intertwined demon cores into the unfreezing pool. This was the deepest part of the unfreezing pool. It was also the place with the lowest temperature. It was almost close to absolute zero. After the two demon cores entered the unfreezing pool, they trembled and shrunk before separating. It was indeed very simple. Without using any strength, the two demon cores that were tightly intertwined immediately separated. He placed the portion of the Millennium Owl's demon core into the spatial ring. He took the portion of the Fire Qilin's demon core and handed it to Yan Biaqin. Take it. Yan Biaqin turned around and received the Fire Qilin's demon core. He nodded and said, many thanks. Yang Dingtian said, but this demon core has lost a lot of energy. Not even half of it is left now. It's completely sufficient. Yan Biaqin replied. After that, Yan Biaqin placed the Fire Qilin's demon core in his bosom and said, I need to wait until the heaven and earth mystic flame is about to bloom before I leave. Only then can I successfully escape. You don't mind staying with me for another 8 hours, right? Yang Dingtian shook his head. I don't mind. Many thanks then. Yan Biaqin slowly closed his eyes and sat cross-legged to regulate his breath. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, a loud noise came from above his head. The unfreezing pool shook violently, and even the crystal under him shook. Above, it was as if the heavens and earth were shaking. They have finally started fighting, Yan Biaqin said. Naturally, he was referring to the Foxman clan's clan chief, Qin Huayu, and the other two. After finishing his statement, Yan Biaqin sneered. He then continued to absorb the mystic qi and cultivate. This was the best place to cultivate. After Yan Biaqin cultivated, his eyebrows twitched and revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. He then continued to maintain his composure and didn't say anything else. Boom boom boom. Above, loud noises kept coming. The entire underground shook violently as the unfreezing pool surged violently. It was obvious that the battle above was extremely intense. As expected, the Foxman clan's clan chief had left and was actually fighting 1 against 3. Around 10 minutes later, all the loud noises came to a stop, and the shaking stopped. The battle had stopped, and it wasn't known who had won. However, after the battle ended, Yan Biaqin still didn't open his eyes and continued to absorb the mystic qi. Yang Dingtian carried Dongfang Bingling horizontally on his thighs and fed her a mouthful of holy water with his back facing Yan Biaqin. He then fed her a wonder spirit elixir. Finally, her heartbeat and blood vessels gradually returned to normal. Her breathing also gradually returned to normal. This holy water was indeed formidable. It had pulled Dongfang Bingling back from the gates of hell. It was just that she was still unconscious at this moment. After confirming that Dongfang Bingling was fine, Yang Dingtian closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing while absorbing the mystic qi. At this moment, there were still 8 hours before the mystic flame bloomed. Time continued to elapse by the minute and second. Yang Dingtian, the unconscious Dongfang Bingling, and Yan Biaqin were squeezed in a narrow space. She really didn't know if Yang Dingtian was living with a wolf or a human. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours passed. 7.5 hours passed. At this moment, there was less than half an hour before the heaven and earth mystic flame bloomed. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly loud noises came from above again. It turned out that the battle just now hadn't ended, and was just paused. Now that the mystic flame was about to bloom, the battle had started again. Furthermore, it seemed like the battle was even more intense than before. Just when the battle was at its most intense, and the noises were the loudest and the most chaotic, suddenly, Yan Biaqin opened his eyes. Yang Dingtian followed suit, and opened his eyes while his heart tightened. Whether Yan Biaqin would go back on his word and kill would depend on this moment. I'll take my leave now. See you again. Yan Biaqin stood up and took out the fire Qilance demon core. He poured in a strand of mystic qi and circulated some kind of technique. In an instant, the demon core suddenly burst out with a resplendent light, and then fine cracks appeared on the demon core. Yang Dingtian felt the air around him suddenly heated up. It was as though the temperature had risen by a few hundred degrees and was getting higher and higher. It was as though the air was going to be burned. Without a doubt, Yan Biaqin had used some kind of technique to cause the fiery energy in the demon core to erupt abnormally. Remember, Yang Dingtian, you didn't give me this demon core as a favor. You still owe me a huge favor. Then, Yan Biaqin held the erupting demon core and rushed into the unfreezing pool. He borrowed the energy of the fire Qilance demon core and floated up quickly. As expected, he kept his promise and didn't kill Yang Dingtian. In the transparent unfreezing pool, Yang Dingtian saw Yan Biaqin swimming further and further away. Finally, he couldn't be seen anymore. The battle above still didn't stop. Even though the loud sounds weren't as concentrated, the intensity of the battle was even more shocking. After Yan Biaqin left, it was Yang Dingtian's turn to struggle. The battle above had turned into a mess. Without a doubt, Yan Biaqin didn't just want to escape. He wanted to fish in troubled waters and obtain the mystic flame. Even though Yan Biaqin didn't kill Yang Dingtian, there was no doubt that he had huge ambitions. If there was an opportunity to obtain the mystic flame, he would definitely not let it go. In that case, should Yang Dingtian take advantage of the situation to fish in troubled waters? From the looks of it, all the fights for the mystic flame had nothing to do with Yang Dingtian. However, Yang Dingtian had sacrificed so much for this heaven and earth mystic flame. He was really unwilling to give it up now. However, with Yan Biaqin's 1-star martial supreme cultivation, it was still possible for him to fish in troubled waters. Yang Dingtian was just a 1-star martial mystic. It was just wishful thinking for him to fish in troubled waters. Most importantly, even if he succeeded in fishing in troubled waters and obtained the mystic flame, how was he going to escape after obtaining it? How was he going to escape the pursuit of a few martial supreme experts, or even master experts? Yang Dingtian was sure that if he obtained the mystic flame, no matter if it was Qin Huayu or the Foxman Patriarch, they would definitely give up on the battle and turn to pursue Yang Dingtian. However, Yang Dingtian wasn't willing to back off just like this. He had to look on helplessly as the mystic flame was being devoured and refined by others. After taking a deep breath, Yang Dingtian made a decision. He was going to stake it all. That's right. Yang Dingtian had staked it all, and used his blood to transfuse into Dongfang Bingling's body in exchange for her awakening. Yang Dingtian had lost, but fortunately, he didn't lose his life. The probability of winning earlier was less than 10%. Now the probability of fishing in troubled waters to obtain the mystic flame was even lower. However, Yang Dingtian still decided to stake it all. He was truly unwilling to watch as the mystic flame left. Among everyone, Yang Dingtian was the one who had sacrificed the most for this mystic flame. After deciding to stake it all, Yang Dingtian gradually calmed down. Since he had decided to stake it all and planned to fish in troubled waters, the next problem was how to plan it. Yang Dingtian slowly closed his eyes and continued to meditate. If he wanted to fish in troubled waters, he just had to fill his entire body with mystic qi. Yang Dingtian had almost exhausted all of his mystic qi in the final slash against Yin Biaqin. However, in the following mystic qi absorption, Yang Dingtian filled his qi vessel and mystic meridians with battle mystic qi. Chapter 261. He was different from Yin Biaqin. Yin Biaqin was a martial supreme expert, and could fish in troubled waters half an hour before the mystic flame blossomed. Yang Dingtian decided to take advantage of the situation when the mystic flame was the closest to blossoming. As such, Yang Dingtian waited quietly. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. There was still 10 minutes before the mystic flame blossomed. It was time. Yang Dingtian stood up abruptly and came to Dongfang Bingling's side. If I survive, I will definitely come down again and bring you away. If I don't survive, then I'm sorry, but you will have to stay here alone. Yang Dingtian naturally couldn't bring Dongfang Bingling up this time to fish in troubled waters. Dongfang Bingling was extremely weak now. Even with the heat provided by Yang Dingtian, it would be hard for her to pass through the 1,000-meter unfreezing pool. After taking a deep look at the unconscious Dongfang Bingling, Yang Dingtian hugged Ah Cho and rushed into the unfreezing pool. So cold, as though my soul spirit is being imprisoned. For the next 1,000 meters of unfreezing pool, Yang Dingtian had once again suffered a hellish torment. However, it was slightly better than the previous time. The higher he floated, the higher the temperature. Therefore, as long as he could endure the extreme cold, the higher he went, the better it would be. Yang Dingtian took a total of 5 minutes to reach the 1,000-meter unfreezing pool. He rushed out of the unfreezing pool and arrived above the ice. There were less than 5 minutes before the heaven and earth mystic flame blossomed. Just as he stood above the ice, there was a violent tremor. There was a loud sound that was like a thunderclap or a bomb explosion. There was no doubt that the battle above had already reached its climax. Therefore, the heavens shook and the earth shook as if there was a great earthquake. The ice that was originally intact was now in a mess. It was broken and flying everywhere. Yang Dingtian broke through the ice layer, according to the approximate location where the mystic flame blossomed, and gradually sneaked over. Advancing in the ice layer, Yang Dingtian was getting closer and closer to the place where the mystic flame bloomed. The battle over there was still intense, so the loud noises became clearer and clearer, and the shaking of the heavens and earth became more and more intense. Closer and closer. Yang Dingtian was getting closer and closer to the room where the mystic flame was blooming. And the time for the mystic flame to bloom was getting closer and closer. Yang Dingtian did not directly go to the place where he and Dongfang Bingling were waiting for the mystic flame to bloom. Instead, he took a detour and went to the back of the small room where the mystic flame bloomed. Finally, the flame-shaped space was right in front of him, only a short distance away from Yang Dingtian. The entire ice layer was in a mess. Only the place where the mystic flame was about to bloom was undamaged. It seemed that the two parties who were fighting had deliberately protected this place. At this moment, there was only about a minute left before the mystic flame bloomed. Meanwhile, the sounds of intense fighting had already stopped. No one knew what had happened. Rumble! Suddenly there was a loud bang. Then, the thick layer of ice suddenly burst open. The entire earth cracked open. Boom! The ice-cold ice suddenly burned fiercely. Yang Dingtian felt a huge force pushing upwards. The time for the mystic flame to bloom had arrived. This was because Yang Dingtian was inside the ice lake. If he was outside now, he could clearly see a mountain rapidly growing in the lake. At first, it was just the tip of a small mountain. Then it grew taller and taller. The lake that was originally completely frozen was suddenly torn apart from the middle. A mountain came out alive from the lake. Half of the mountain was covered in blue ice, while the other half was covered in raging flames. This mountain really appeared. The Yin-Yang mountain in the mystic flame map really appeared. It came out alive from the center of the lake. While the Yin-Yang mountain was growing, the ice around Yang Dingtian was cracking and falling inch by inch. Yang Dingtian could clearly see that he and the others were completely inside the mountain. As the Yin-Yang mountain grew taller and taller, the surrounding ice started to fall and reached the slope of the mountain. Through the transparent ice, Yang Dingtian could already see the scenery outside. Right now, they were already above the surface of the lake. Huff! Then in that flame-shaped room, an incomparably beautiful blue flame suddenly blossomed. It was as quiet as a virgin, and was charming and beautiful. This was the mystic flame? The moment the mystic flame blossomed, the giant piece of ice in front of them instantly melted. In an instant, the barrier between Yang Dingtian, Qin Huayu, and Duge Bingyan disappeared as they looked at each other directly. When he saw Qin Huayu and the others, Yang Dingtian was first shocked before he was delighted. He was shocked because they were only a few dozen meters away from Yang Dingtian. He was delighted because they and the Foxman race patriarch had already entered the most dangerous moment of internal strength competition. It was no wonder that the four of them had been fighting silently during this period of time. Qin Huayu, Dugu Fengwu, and Guda Wuhuan formed a triangle and surrounded the Foxman race patriarch, day by day Bella. Dugu Fengwu's sharp sword shot out a blood-red sword light and stabbed at day by day Bella. Qin Huayu's sharp sword shot out a black-red sword light, while Guda Wuhuan's sharp sword shot out a purple-red sword light. Day by day Bella's giant dragon-patterned sword burst out with a thick golden sword light. It split into three and blocked the attacks of the three at the same time. Even though day by day Bella was fighting 1 against 3, she still had the upper hand. On the contrary, Qin Huayu's side seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Yang Dingtian didn't know why they had entered the Mystic Qi competition mode, but it was undoubtedly the most dangerous. Once they entered this mode, unless one of them had completely exhausted their Mystic Qi, they wouldn't be able to stop. If one of them took the initiative to stop, they would lose, and the consequence of losing would be death. The opponent's powerful Mystic Qi would enter your body and instantly shatter your mystic meridians and organs. But according to the current situation, Qin Huayu's side was probably going to lose. Even if day by day Bella won, she wouldn't have much mystic qi left. Therefore, the current situation was actually the most advantageous for Yang Dingtian. When Qin Huayu and the others noticed Yang Dingtian, they were first shocked, but they immediately acted as though nothing had happened. Mr. Shenlang is truly blessed. Guda Wuhuan suddenly said, "You have already seen the current situation. Why don't we make a deal?" This person actually called him Shenlang, and not Yang Dingtian. "What deal? Tell me about it." Yang Dingtian said, "Now both of us have entered the most dangerous moment, and the three of us are at a disadvantage. But it's very simple to reverse this situation. You just need to walk to the back of this Foxman patriarch and stab him with your sword, and he will die." Guda Wuhuan said, "You can rest assured. If you stab him with your sword now, he won't resist at all. He can only watch as you stab him to death. After I stab him to death, you guys will come and kill me. Do you think I'm that stupid?" Yang Dingtian sneered. "It's fine if you don't stab him to death." Guda Wuhuan said, "You just need to stab a wound on his back. This way, his blood will continue to flow, and his mystic qi will flow away. This way he, who originally had the upper hand, will lose. But that will be at least 15 minutes later. You will still be very safe. You can devour and refine the mystic flame before leaving." "What benefits will that bring me?" Yang Dingtian sneered. "Mr. Shenlang, even if you successfully devour the mystic flame and escape from this place, so what? Can you escape the joint pursuit of Qin City, Temple of Blood and Joyless Palace?" Guda Wuhuan said, "If you help us this time, we promise to write off all the previous conflicts. Before the martial contest, we won't send anyone to kill you. We won't harm any of your people, and we won't divulge any of your secrets. How about it?" "Why should I believe you?" Yang Dingtian said. Guda Wuhuan said, "I can swear on the Temple of Annihilation, on the Supreme Evil Emperor, and on the ancestors of Joyless Palace. The oaths in this world were very serious." Guda Wuhuan only needed to swear on the ancestors of Joyless Palace, and this oath was more important than his life itself. Not to mention that he was swearing on the Joyless Palace, the Supreme Evil Emperor, and the Temple of Annihilation. Qin Huayu said, "Shenlang, since you are able to come out alive, it proves that Yan Bieqin has betrayed you. However, I don't care about all this. As long as you agree to Guda Wuhuan's request, I can promise you that I won't do anything to Ningro." or other than what he promised you. Otherwise, once Qin Huayu said this, Yang Dingtian's heart instantly turned cold. It was unknown if Dugu Fengwu told him, or if Qin Huayu guessed it himself. In short, Qin Huayu knew that Yang Dingtian and Ningro had some interactions before. In fact, Ningro was the one who gave Yang Dingtian half of the Mystic Flames map. Therefore, Qin Huayu issued a threat here. If Yang Dingtian didn't agree to Gudu Wuhuan's request, Ningro would be in an extremely miserable state. This Qin Huayu was definitely a beast. He actually used his woman's life to threaten Yang Dingtian. Ningro was his woman and not Yang Dingtian's woman. Furthermore, she was the mother of Qin Huayu's daughter. Shen Lang, you have to make a choice. Gudu Wuhuan said coldly. To be honest, the other party's conditions were very tempting and were extremely important to Yang Dingtian. According to Gudu Wuhuan's method, Qin Huayu would stab day by day Bella in the back and make him bleed continuously. Then, Qin Huayu's side would be able to obtain victory in their lives. After Yang Dingtian did all this, he would still be able to devour and refine the mystic flame calmly before leaving. They agreed that before the martial contest for the city lord's position, they wouldn't make a move on Yang Dingtian or the people of Cloud Heaven City. Among them, Yang Dingtian still had a fatal weakness in their hands. He was impersonating the hidden sect's disciple, Wu Ming. Once this matter was exposed, Yang Dingtian wouldn't have any foothold in this world. Therefore, the other party's conditions were very tempting. It was a typical case of paying less, but receiving more in return. Chapter 262. At this moment, the Yinyang mountain was still growing, but the speed was getting slower and slower. Right now, the Yinyang mountain had already grown over 3,000 meters. Yang Dingtian and the others were now over 2,000 meters above the ground. They could see the azure blue sky from the outside. Yang Dingtian looked at Qin Huayu and the others. He had to make a choice. At the start, his gaze was still on Qin Huayu and Gudu Wuhuan. Eventually, his gaze landed on Dugu Fengwu's face. This woman's absolutely beautiful face was already pale, and cold sweat was constantly seeping out from her forehead. The mystic qi in her body was gradually depleting. Once it was completely depleted, only death would await her in such a direct contest of mystic qi. If Yang Dingtian rejected Gudu Wuhuan's conditions, it would mean that he was sending Dugu Fengwu to her death. The world's most beautiful woman had once had an extremely intimate relationship with Yang Dingtian that was beyond friendship. This woman was also the most cold-hearted and heartless woman to Yang Dingtian in this world. Yang Dingtian had saved her life more than once, but she still killed Yang Dingtian in the Five Elements Hall secret realm. If it wasn't for the stone giant and the holy water, Yang Dingtian's corpse would have already rotted. Your conditions are very tempting. Yang Dingtian spoke slowly and resolutely. But I still choose to reject. Compared to making a deal with you, I am more willing to see you die here. Yang Dingtian chose to reject. Once he said this, Qin Huayu and the others had a change in expression. Dugu Fengwu's absolutely beautiful face trembled as she looked at Yang Dingtian. Very good, Gudu Wuhuan said. Shen Lang, everyone has to be responsible for their own decisions. After that, they didn't say anything else. Their eyes were filled with absolute coldness and killing intent. After making his decision, Yang Dingtian guarded by the side of the mystic flame and waited for it to fully mature and bloom. At this moment, the mystic flame was already 1 foot tall and had become even more absolutely beautiful. This was the heaven and earth mystic flame, a flame with life. Only one flame could be nurtured within 10,000 miles of fire elemental land. This was a true treasure of heaven and earth, something that could change Yang Dingtian's fate. Once he possessed the mystic flame, he could become the most powerful person in the world. With the mystic flame, Yang Dingtian would be able to forge a true soul sword, cultivate a sword soul, and improve his cultivation by leaps and bounds. Compared to the top-grade earth fire, it was filled with more spiritual energy, as if it had a life of its own. It was even curious enough to sense the entire world. When Yang Dingtian approached it, its flame even slightly tilted to the side, as if it was turning its head towards Yang Dingtian. approaching Yang Dingtian slightly. Soon it would enter its most resplendent stage. When that time came, it would be time for Yang Dingtian to devour and refine it. Refining an occult flame was not very difficult. Unlike the supreme great earth fire, the mystic fire possessed life and soul. However, it was just like a newborn baby. Its soul and divine sense were completely blank. As long as the divine sense and mystic chi were injected into the mystic fire, the martial artist, and it would build a bridge. Just like a newborn baby bird, a chick, or a duckling, the mystic fire would be filled with uneasiness towards the outside world. It would instinctively seek protection, even though it was incomparably powerful, and there was nothing in the world that could harm it. However, it would still instinctively look for a safe place. It would instinctively go back to find its mother. At this time, using the soul and mystic chi to build a bridge, it would follow this familiar scent, transform into countless strands of energy, and enter the martial artist's mystic meridians. Finally, like the mystic chi, it would reside in the martial artist's sea of chi. During the entire process, the mystic fire would not harm anyone. Unlike the supreme great earth fire, the earth fire would release terrifying energy all the time. It could destroy anything that touched it. However, the mystic fire was different. It had its own consciousness, and it would choose whether to attack or not. Of course, if someone dared to touch the mystic fire at this time, the restless mystic fire would explode and burn him into ashes. However, during the process of the mystic fire entering the mystic meridians and sea of chi, it would not harm or attack anyone. Once it completely entered the sea of chi, the mystic fire would become a part of the martial artist's life and would never be separated. Therefore, what Yang Dingtian had to do now was to wait for it to fully blossom before injecting his divine senses and mystic chi into the mystic fire. At that time, the mystic fire would be like a baby that was looking for its mother. It would obediently transform into countless strands of energy and enter Yang Dingtian's body. Since Yang Dingtian had already decided to reject Gudu Wuhuan's request, he would completely ignore the other party and focus all his attention on the mystic fire. As long as it matured, Yang Dingtian would immediately inject his mystic chi and divine senses. The mystic fire was getting more and more beautiful and moving. It was like a flower that was gradually blooming to the extreme. It was like a lady that was getting more and more beautiful. The final moment of blooming was about to arrive. At this moment, Yang Dingtian was already extremely nervous, and his breathing had almost stopped. In fact, there was a sense of uneasiness in his heart, because the other person had yet to appear. That person was Yan Biaqin. After leaving the unfreezing pond, he had yet to appear. Could he have really given up on the mystic fire and escaped? Right at this moment, a familiar voice resounded. Young Lord Gudu, young Lady Dugu, is your deal still valid? Yan Biaqin's voice finally resounded. Afterward, a piece of ice cracked open, and Yan Biaqin drilled out from the ice. With a violent shake, he shook off the unfreezing water on his body. Earlier on, he had actually wrapped the unfreezing water on his body, before wrapping himself in the ice to conceal his energy presence. Yes, of course it's still valid. Qin Huayu replied. Yan Biaqin slowly walked behind Day by Day Bella and said, Then I will have to trouble the three of you to make an oath. Gudu Wuhuan said, I swear that I will not pursue any wrongdoings of Yan Biaqin. I will treat him as a lifelong friend, and will not harm him in any way. If I were to violate this oath, I will let the ancestors of the Joyless Palace never rest in peace. I will let the spirits of the leaders of the evil ways exterminate me. I will let the evil ways sink forever and never rise again. Qin Huayu said, I swear that I will not pursue any wrongdoings of Yan Biaqin. I will still treat him as a trusted aide, and will still unconditionally support his future endeavors. I will treat him as a lifelong friend, and will not harm him in any way. If I were to violate this oath, I will let the ancestors of Qin City never reincarnate. I will let my Qin City perish completely. Dugu Fengwu said, I swear that I will not pursue any wrongdoings of Yan Biaqin. I will treat him as a lifelong friend, and will not harm him in any way. If I were to violate this oath, I will let the deceased ancestors of the Temple of Blood turn into vengeful spirits to kill me and destroy me. Chapter 263. Many thanks to the three of you. Yan Biaqin will forever remember your kindness. Yan Biaqin spoke slowly. After that, he looked at Yang Dingtian. My apologies, Mr. Xinlang. This mystic flame doesn't belong to you anymore. I believe you won't put up any unnecessary resistance, right? You wouldn't want us to shed all pretenses of cordiality now, right? Yang Dingtian immediately let out a bitter laugh. Yan Biaqin walked to the back of Day by Day Bella and suddenly drew his sharp sword. Qin Huayu and the others' eyes instantly lit up. They couldn't wait for Yan Biaqin to slash Day by Day Bella into two. During the entire process, Day by Day Bella didn't beg for mercy at all. Her face was still filled with arrogance and indifference. I have one more condition, Yan Biaqin suddenly said. I want the three of you to let Mr. Xinlang off, regardless of his true identity. No matter what weakness he has in your hands, you must not harm him before the martial contest. How about it? When he said this, not only did Qin Huayu's expression change, even Yang Dingtian revealed an inconceivable expression. Why did Yan Biaqin do this? It wasn't enough for him to ask Qin Huayu and the others to let him off. He actually wanted them to let Yang Dingtian off as well. Biaqin, are you sure? Qin Huayu asked. I'm sure. Yan Biaqin replied. All right, I agree. Furthermore, I will incorporate this into the vow earlier. Qin Huayu said. I agree. I will incorporate this into the vow earlier as well. Gudu Wuhuan said. I agree. Dugu Fengwu said indifferently. Many thanks, Yan Biaqin said. He then thrust the sharp sword in his hand. In an instant, it pierced through Day by Day Bella's chest, causing fresh blood to spurt out violently. As for Zuri Bela, who was currently competing with Qin Huayu and the other two, he could only look on helplessly as his body was pierced through. He didn't have the slightest bit of strength to resist, and could only look on helplessly as his blood continued to gush out. As the blood spurted out, energy gradually flowed out from Day by Day Bella's body. If it was any other time, he could easily stop the bleeding. But now, not only was he unable to stop the bleeding, because they were competing with profound energy, the profound veins in his body were circulating rapidly. His blood was also circulating rapidly, and the speed at which the blood flowed out did not slow down in the slightest. With the loss of blood, Day by Day Bella was at a disadvantage. Yang Dingtian didn't know how much Xianqi Day by Day Bella had left, but he knew that at this rate, half of the blood in Day by Day Bella's body would be drained in half an hour. Losing half of her blood meant that the arrogant Fox clan leader would die for sure. Originally, Yang Dingtian didn't have any favorable impression of this Foxman chieftain, Zuri Bela. However, his heart couldn't help but be filled with respect and pity. Even at this moment, this proud chieftain still didn't open his mouth to beg for forgiveness. Furthermore, Yang Dingtian was indebted to his daughter, Xiang Bella. But at this moment, Yang Dingtian couldn't do anything. So this is what you humans are like. Day by Day Bella finally spoke her first sentence, and her voice was filled with complicated emotions. From this sentence, Yang Dingtian could tell that this Foxman patriarch was actually willing to get close to humans and form an alliance with them. But it was obvious that the humans' performance had disappointed him. Xinlang, I want to pass on a message to you. Please pass it on to my clansmen. Day by Day Bella suddenly said. Yes, please speak. Yang Dingtian said. This young lady Dugu Fengwu proposed to trade the 1,000-year fire attribute demon core with us. We asked her the reason for the trade, but she wasn't willing to tell us, so we rejected the trade. But instead, she entered our sacrificial altar, killed the priest who was guarding it, and snatched the sacred core on the altar. Day by Day Bella said. If it was only the demon core, we wouldn't have pursued her. But what she snatched was our ancestor's sacred core. Our ancestor was half human and half demon, with a lifespan of 800 years. Our Foxman race had flourished in his hands. Now that she snatched our sacred core, do you think I have a reason to chase after her? Yes. Yang Dingtian said. Day by Day Bella said. I now know that there is a mystic flame here. Please pass this message to my clansmen. I will die for the sake of snatching back the sacred core, and not for the mystic flame. I will remember it, Patriarch. Yang Dingtian said that at this moment, the mystic flame had already bloomed to the extreme. The confrontation of mystic qi was still ongoing, and day by day Bella was filled with the determination to die. Yin Biaqin walked to Yang Dingtian's side and patted on his shoulder. Sorry, brother Yang Dingtian. I want this mystic flame. Finishing his statement, an incomparably powerful energy completely confined Yang Dingtian's body. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's body couldn't move at all. Even his spirit couldn't flow out, and the mystic qi in his body couldn't circulate. Yin Biaqin was a one-star revered martial artist. Although he was slightly weaker than Qin Huayu, they were still on the same level. Facing a revered martial artist, the current Yang Dingtian didn't have the slightest ability to resist. After that, Yang Dingtian was confined and couldn't move at all. He couldn't even close his eyes. He could only look on helplessly as everything happened. Yinyang Mountain stopped growing. This mystic flame was temporarily at the extreme. It was extremely beautiful and charming. After it bloomed to the extreme, the flame started to change into various shapes. It let others see its uneasiness and timidity. It desperately wanted to find a safe place, and someone to protect it. Although it was the strongest existence in this world, once it went berserk, everyone present would be turned into ashes. It was the strongest energy that was nurtured by the earth. However, it didn't know this and treated itself as the weakest baby. Of course, it was indeed the weakest because its lifespan was extremely short. It only lasted for a few minutes. Once it couldn't find a place to stay, its beautiful and powerful life would rapidly wither. It would have to wait for 200 years before it bloomed again. A martial artist's chi vessel was its best home. Therefore, a martial artist would always think of finding the mystic flame. The mystic flame also yearned to find a martial artist's chi vessel. Of course, this martial artist had to be at least at the martial mystic realm. Otherwise, when the mystic flame turned into thousands of strands of energy and entered the body, it wouldn't cause any harm to the body. However, if the martial artist's cultivation was below the martial mystic realm, they wouldn't be able to refine the mystic flame's energy into their chi vessel and turn it into their heart flame. Yin Biaqin's gaze condensed on this extremely powerful mystic flame that was like a newborn baby. A wisp of divine sense and a wisp of Xian Qi were slowly approaching the Xian flame. At this moment, even if Qin Huayu and the others were fighting with their lives on the line, they still widened their eyes and watched everything that was happening. Their eyes were filled with uneasiness, hatred and jealousy. This was a heaven and earth mystic flame. No matter if it was Qin Huayu, Guda Wuhuan, or Duga Fengwu, as long as they devoured and refined this mystic flame, it would be equivalent to taking half a step into the master class. It meant that they would definitely have a place among the grandmaster class experts in the future. To Duga Fengwu, this mystic flame had an even greater significance. As long as she refined this mystic flame, her cultivation would be able to surpass Dongfang Bingling. She would be able to forge a true soul sword in the shortest amount of time, and cultivate a sword soul in the shortest amount of time. She would then be able to become the true #1 expert in the world. There were less than 5 or 6 people in the world who possessed a heaven and earth mystic flame. For this mystic flame, Duga Fengwu had sacrificed a lot and made a huge deal with the northwest Qin city. Right now, the Temple of Blood and Duga Fengwu had already paid the price and successfully made Guda Wuhuan and Qin Huayu hand over the mystic flame. However, who would have thought that this mystic flame would end up in Yin Biaqin's stomach? How could she not hate him? Meanwhile, Qin Huayu's heart was even more complicated. This Yin Biaqin was his trusted aide, and the most important chess piece of the Qin city. He had betrayed Yin Biaqin first, and Yin Biaqin had also betrayed him. Right now, this heaven and earth mystic flame had actually ended up in Yin Biaqin's stomach. This originally outstanding subordinate was about to soar into the sky and transform into a dragon. As for Yang Dingtian, he was the one who was the most unresigned. For this mystic flame, he had sacrificed the most. This mystic flame was his only hope for victory in the martial contest for the city lord position. However, Yang Dingtian found it hard to have any deep-rooted hatred towards Yan Biaqin, who had snatched the mystic flame away. Based on the current situation, Yan Biaqin didn't owe Yang Dingtian anything. No matter who saw the mystic flame, they would think of ways to take it for themselves. Yan Biaqin's divine senses were gradually getting closer to the mystic flame. The beautiful mystic flame was like a child that was filled with anticipation and fear. It smelled Yan Biaqin's mystic qi and urgently wanted to find a relative a home. However, it was extremely afraid. Thus it carefully probed and approached. Perhaps everyone here was hoping for an accident to happen when Yan Biaqin was devouring the mystic flame. No matter what kind of accident it would be the mystic flame going berserk, the sudden change in the battle situation, or a person suddenly rushing in. However, nothing unexpected happened. The mystic flame and Yan Biaqin's mystic qi carefully approached each other, and finally came into contact. The moment they came into contact, the mystic flame suddenly jumped. All the uneasiness and timidity had completely vanished. The mystic flame started to cheer, dance, and jump in joy because it had found a home. The outcome had been decided. Once the mystic qi was successfully poured into the mystic flame, no one would be able to snatch it away. Even if someone came in and killed Yan Biaqin, they wouldn't be able to snatch the mystic flame away. Once the mystic flame recognized its master, it would never change. Currently, Yan Biaqin's mystic flame aura was deeply engraved in the mystic flame's divine senses. If Yan Biaqin was killed now, there would only be one outcome, and that was the mystic flame going berserk. Once the mystic flame went berserk, everyone present would be turned into ashes. These 1,000-meter-tall mountains would instantly shatter. This 100-meter-long lake would instantly dry up. These 100-meter-long burial grounds would instantly turn into hell. This was the power of the mystic flame. Chapter 264. This was the might of the mystic flame. Therefore, the outcome was already decided. Yang Dingtian could even hear the sighs of Qin Huayu and the rest. Afterward, he saw them shifting their gazes away, and no longer looking at Yan Biaqin. Bang! The beautiful mystic flame suddenly exploded. Instantly, it was as resplendent as the most beautiful fireworks. This mystic flame suddenly turned into countless strands. Every strand was like a beautiful ray of light. Countless red rays of light curved, danced, released and drifted. The surrounding few hundred meters were filled with the mystic flame strands. It was extremely breathtaking and beautiful. Afterward, these mystic flame strands began to revolve and dance around Yan Biaqin. It was like a lover or a naughty child, completely wrapping Yan Biaqin within. Finally, these countless mystic flame strands began to drill into Yan Biaqin's body. This speed was extremely fast, like a swallow returning to its nest as it drilled into Yan Biaqin's body. Suddenly, Yan Biaqin's entire body blossomed with dazzling red light. In just a few minutes, countless mystic flames' energy turned into strands and completely entered Yan Biaqin's body, circulating within his mystic meridians. Next, Yan Biaqin needed to guide the mystic flame's energy into his qi vessel bit by bit, forming a complete heart flame. Yan Biaqin sat cross-legged on the ground and began refining. At this moment, his entire body was filled with red light. Following the refining process, the red light on his body gradually dimmed. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. During this process, Yang Dingtian could clearly feel the eruption of energy within Yan Biaqin's body. Every eruption was a breakthrough. After refining the mystic flame, one's cultivation would have a huge breakthrough. No one knew how many levels Yan Biaqin had broken through. However, it was definitely a huge breakthrough. 20 minutes later, the red light in Yan Biaqin's body had almost completely dimmed. At this moment, day by day Bella was already at the end of his rope due to the loss of blood. He was like a lamp that was about to run out of oil. His death was about to arrive. Qin Huayu's battle was about to end. At this moment, Yan Biaqin suddenly opened his eyes. He had yet to finish refining the mystic flame. Once he stopped, he could still continue, but there would be a huge loss of energy. However, he still stopped and stood up. His eyes were filled with wariness. Just from his gaze, Yang Dingtian could tell that his cultivation had improved greatly, and the energy in his body was many times stronger. Shunlang, young Lord Gudu, young Lady Dugu, farewell, Yan Biaqin said. In the end he glanced at Yang Dingtian. We shall meet again. Bang! After that, Yan Biaqin suddenly turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the sky. He flew out of the Yin-Yang mountain through the thick layer of ice and disappeared from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. The refinement of the mystic flame had not ended, and he actually left just like that. What was the reason that he was willing to stop this priceless refinement and leave? When Yan Biaqin disappeared from Yang Dingtian's vision, all the shackles on his body had disappeared. Yang Dingtian's profound energy, hands and feet had completely recovered. When Yan Biaqin left, he didn't forget to undo the shackles on him. This person is rather smart. After knowing that I was here, he actually ran away quickly. After that, a familiar voice echoed in Yang Dingtian's ears. This was a voice that had experienced many vicissitudes of life. It was the grand elder of the Foxman race, a 200-years-old white-haired beauty, Babai. As expected, it was her. Babai carried her son and slowly descended from the gap on the mountain peak. She stepped close to the blazing flames. Her face was still as beautiful as before. Her body was still full and compact, and her hair was still as white as snow. Her son's complexion was rosy, and he was already much better. However, as compared to a few days ago when Yang Dingtian gave him the sacred water, he had already aged by more than 10 years. His aging speed was extremely fast. According to this speed, he would return to his old and feeble state in half a month's time. Babai landed beside Yang Dingtian. Her gaze landed on the face of the Foxman race's patriarch. Day by day Bella. At this moment, the arrogant Foxman race's patriarch was already at the end of his life. A pool of blood slowly flowed down his body, and his entire body was drenched in his own blood. His handsome face was so pale that there was no trace of blood. He was already relying on his last bit of willpower to fight. He could collapse and die at any moment. Seeing Grand Elder Babai's appearance, Qin Huayu and the rest's expression changed. Everyone, even though this Juri Bela is very stupid and can't get along with me, he's still my junior, and also the patriarch of my Foxman race. How about letting him off? Babai looked at Qin Huayu and the others and said unhurriedly. She even coughed twice in between. Qin Huayu said, Senior, if we let him go, we will definitely die. If I were to make a move now, all of you will definitely die. Babai said slowly. But I know that all of you have great backgrounds. One is from the Temple of Blood, one is from the Joyless Palace, and one is from the Northwest Qin City. I don't dare to offend any of these three factions, so I didn't make a move. I'm not as stupid as Day by Day Bella. If any one of you were to die here, it would be a calamity for my Foxman race. Babai said, Now the mystic flame is also gone. How about this old woman? Give me some face, and let this disappointing junior go. Qin Huayu said, Humble. I'm afraid that even if we let him go, you won't be willing to let me go. I swear by my dead husband, and I swear by my ancestors. How about that? Babai said, I swear that if young Lord Qin Huayu and the rest let Day by Day Bella race's patriarch off, my Foxman race will definitely not treat the three of them as enemies. We are even willing to form an alliance with the three factions and advance together. If I were to violate this oath, let my ancestors be reincarnated in hell, and never be reincarnated. Let my husband turn into a malicious spirit, and take my life. After swearing the oath, Babai looked at Qin Huayu and waited for his decision. Before I agree, I want to ask you a question. Who is your husband? Qin Huayu asked. An incomparably deep and complicated look flashed across Babai's eyes. She said indifferently, You are very familiar with this person. He is the greatest traitor of the Tiando League, the greatest sinner in human history, the great demon Li Tianxiao. The moment she said that, everyone's expressions changed drastically. This person's husband was actually Li Tianxiao. After the evil ways were defeated in the Doomsday Battle 200 years ago, Li Tianxiao actually hid in the half-human race's Dongli grassland and married the Foxman race's beauty, Babai. No wonder she knew the mystic flame map like the back of her hand. This mystic flame map had been obtained from Li Tianxiao in the first place. Now you can answer me. Do you agree or not? Babai said slowly. Then she coughed a few times. Yes. Qin Huayu said. We are willing to obey. We are even more willing to form an alliance with the Foxman race. Babai walked directly behind Day by Day Bella, grabbed his arm, and said, I will count to 3. The 3 of you withdraw your mystic qi. Yes. Qin Huayu said. 1, 2, 3. Babai counted to 3. Then she grabbed Day by Day Bella's arm and pulled it hard. At the same time, Qin Huayu and the other 2 pulled back their mystic qi. There were no accidents. Both parties successfully separated. After withdrawing their mystic qi, Qin Huayu and the other 2 staggered and almost fell to the ground. At this time, they were already completely empty and extremely weak. Day by Day Bella collapsed to the ground. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Babai placed her palm on Day by Day Bella's back and channeled mystic qi into him, preventing him from dying. Immediately, Day by Day Bella's wound stopped bleeding. Babai asked Day by Day Bella to sit on the ground while she sat behind him. Then she channeled mystic qi into his body. Qin Huayu and the other 2 took a deep breath and quickly consumed an elixir. They then bowed to Babai and asked, Senior, do you have any other instructions? No, you may leave. Babai said. Yes. Qin Huayu said. He then bowed again and was about to leave. But before leaving, Qin Huayu and the others couldn't help but look at Yang Dingtian with a complicated expression. Farewell. After speaking, Qin Huayu, Guduwuhuan, and Dugafengwu turned into 3 rays of light and broke through the ice layer and left Yinyang Mountain. In an instant, the entire Yinyang Mountain was left with Yang Dingtian and the others. Qin Huayu and the others had already left. Yang Dingtian took out a Tier 7 Wonder Spirit Elixir and placed it in front of Day by Day Bella. He said, Senior, this Tier 7 Wonder Spirit Elixir should be useful to Patriarch Bella. This junior shall take his leave as well. After speaking, Yang Dingtian was about to leave and go to the other side of the unfreezing pool. They can leave, but you don't have to. Babai said slowly. Then, her palm left Day by Day Bella's back and placed that Tier 7 Wonder Spirit Elixir into Day by Day Bella's mouth. This elixir was indeed incredible. Soon, Day by Day Bella's face regained some vitality and color. Then Babai let Day by Day Bella fall to the ground. She walked to Yang Dingtian's side and grabbed his neck, lifting him up. Yang Dingtian spoke with anger. Senior, why are you doing this? Have you forgotten that I once saved your son? Yes, you did. Babai said. It's a pity that he will return to his old age in a month's time and die. Therefore, I have to settle this once and for all, and let him live for another 100 years. Yang Dingtian looked at Day by Day Bella, who was casually tossed aside by Babai and said, Senior Babai, you are not here to save Patriarch Bella. Of course not. His life and death have nothing to do with me. I can't wait for him to die. If I wanted to save him, I wouldn't have only appeared now. Grand Elder Babai said slowly. I am here to let my son devour and refine the mystic flame. Mystic flame? Yang Dingtian said. But this mystic flame had already been refined into someone's stomach. When Yan Biaqin saw you, he didn't even completely refine the mystic flame, and had already escaped. Fool, that was just a mirage mystic flame. It's a void flame. Grand Elder Babai said. Chapter 265. Fool, that is just a mirage mystic flame, a void flame. Grand Elder Babai said. Fake. Yang Dingtian said in disbelief. Yan Biaqin devoured and refined a fake mystic flame? How is that possible? I saw that mystic flame, and it was filled with breathtaking vitality. Did I say that it was fake? Grand Elder Babai said. That mirage mystic flame is also a mystic flame, and looks exactly the same as a real mystic flame. It also has divine sense and spirit soul. However, the energy it contains is only 1/10 of a real mystic flame. Will every mystic flame have a mirage? Yang Dingtian asked. Of course not. Babai said. Only an extremely small number of mystic flames will have one. However, As long as it has a mirage mystic flame, it will be incomparably powerful, and is the king among the mystic flames. Instantly, Yang Dingtian was really stunned. He really didn't expect that Yin Biaqin had devoured and refined a mirage mystic flame, and not a real mystic flame. Senior, where is the real mystic flame? Yang Dingtian asked. Babai said, I will bring you to see it now. However, you should know that now that you know this secret, you will definitely not be able to live. I will definitely kill you. After I let you see the real mystic flame, I will kill you. Do you understand? Of course I understand. Yang Dingtian immediately sneered. It's good that you understand. Then let's go. If we go now, the real mystic flame will just mature and bloom. We can just go and pluck it. Son, you can be like your mother and be forever young. Babai grabbed Yang Dingtian with one hand and her son with the other. She immediately sank down and rampaged. Everywhere she passed, the solid cold ice would be turned into fine powder. At this moment, even if he were to die, Yang Dingtian really wanted to know where the real mystic flame was. After breaking through thousands of meters of cold ice, Babai continued to descend. Soon she arrived at a familiar place. It was actually the unfreezing pond. Afterward, Babai grabbed the two of them and jumped into the unfreezing pond. Senior Babai, this unfreezing pool is too cold. Your son won't be able to withstand it and will freeze to death, Yang Dingtian said. He wasn't lying. Barbie's son was so old and weak that he couldn't resist the cold of the unfreezing water. However, after jumping into the unfreezing pool, Yang Dingtian was surprised to find that the unfreezing pool was no longer cold. The bone-chilling coldness disappeared, and the water turned into water of normal temperature. It was even a little warm, about 10 degrees Celsius. How could this be? Just a moment ago, the unfreezing water was shockingly cold, but now, it was not cold at all. Barbie held Yang Dingtian in one hand, and her son in the other, and dived quickly. As the depth increased, the water temperature did not drop at all. It was still warm. Yang Dingtian was completely confused. Could it be that this was not the unfreezing pool, but another pool? Impossible, this was an unfreezing pool. However, the cold energy at a depth of over 1,000 meters was astonishing. The unfreezing pool was also shaped like a funnel, wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. The widest part of it was at least a few thousand meters wide. Therefore, the volume of the unfreezing water was also very astonishing. In the abandoned mine, the volume of the unfreezing pool was only about 1,000th of this one. But it had already bred 999 pieces of 10,000-year-old bloody black gold. What would this huge unfreezing pool breed? What was it that could devour so much heat and produce so much unfreezing water? The answer was already very clear. A real mystic fire. Only a real mystic fire would need so much heat. Only a real mystic fire could create such an astonishing volume of unfreezing pool. Then where was the real mystic fire? The answer was already very clear. That's right, it was under the unfreezing pool. It was in that narrow space on the arc-shaped crystal. That was the place where the real heaven and earth mystic fire was born. That warm crystal was the candlestick of the mystic fire. No wonder the mystic chi there was so strong. No wonder that crystal could release an endless amount of energy. No wonder the space on the crystal was still as warm as spring with such an astonishing amount of unfreezing water. The best earth fire had a candlestick. So did the heaven and earth mystic fire. At this moment, Yang Dingtian really had a wry smile. Just now, he had been on the crystal candlestick, at the place where the mystic fire was born. However, in order to fish in troubled waters, he had left there to fight for the phantom virtual fire. Yang Dingtian really did not know whether he should cry or laugh. Alas! Everything turned into a sigh. At this moment, Dongfang Bingling was still down there. He did not know if she had woken up. Barbie carried Yang Dingtian and her son, and continued to dive down quickly. Soon, the three of them directly passed through the 1,000 meters of water, and directly went out, falling onto the fiery red crystal candlestick. However, after rushing out of the water, Yang Dingtian and Barbie were completely stunned by the scene they saw. It was an extremely beautiful flame, completely blue in color. Incomparably pure, incomparably enchanting, incomparably shocking. It was completely without the color of the flame, completely like a blue fairy. As it swayed gently, it actually turned into a beautiful figure. That's right, this flame turned into the shape of a person. Graceful, beautiful, and enchanting. That's right, this was the real mystic fire. Although the phantom virtual fire just now had divine consciousness and life, it was too immature. The mystic fire in front of them was truly full of life. This real mystic fire was countless times more beautiful than the phantom virtual fire just now. Seeing such a beautiful mystic fire, young Dingtian wanted to cry out in surprise. However, what made him and Barbie cry out in surprise was not this, but Dongfang Bingling at this moment, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, holding the mystic fire with both hands. She was looking at the beauty formed by the mystic fire, and then suddenly inhaled, about to swallow the mystic fire. Young Dingtian also saw clearly that the appearance of the mystic fire was a small Dongfang Bingling. Whether it was the figure or the face, it was exactly the same as Dongfang Bingling. However, Dongfang Bingling was as cold as ice, and this beauty formed by the mystic fire was enchanting and charming. Moreover, the key was that Dongfang Bingling's face did not show any signs of weakness, and there were no scars. She completely looked as powerful as before. No! Seeing this, Great Elder Bai let out a shrill cry of agony. My mystic fire, my million-spirit demonic fire, my son's immortality. You demoness, how dare you steal my mystic fire? How dare you destroy my son? I'll kill you, I'll kill you. Great Elder Barbie was on the verge of breaking down and going crazy. She had waited for 100 years for this mystic fire. She wanted her son to swallow this mystic fire and live for a few hundred years like her. Now everything was ruined. This mystic fire already belonged to Dongfang Bingling. She clearly saw that Dongfang Bingling had already injected her mystic qi and consciousness into the mystic fire, and only the devouring and refining process was left. At this moment, even if she killed Dongfang Bingling, she would not be able to snatch the mystic fire away. If she killed Dongfang Bingling, there would only be one outcome, and that was the mystic fire going berserk. Just now, Barbie had named this mystic fire as the million-spirit demonic fire. The reason was that this mystic fire's soul was formed by the millions of vengeful spirits in the burial ground. Therefore, it was called the million-spirit demonic fire. For thousands of years, the burial ground had been the only battlefield for the half-human tribe. The number of half-human tribe members who had died here was more than 10 million. These thousands of corpses were buried underground, and the millions of vengeful spirits had formed the soul of the mystic fire. Therefore, one could imagine how powerful this million-spirit demonic fire was. Otherwise, it would not have been able to give birth to the mirage void fire. Once such a powerful million-spirit demonic fire went berserk, there would only be one outcome. The entire burial ground would be destroyed, and the sky would fall, and the earth would split. Of course, all the people here would be turned into ashes instantly. To put it more bluntly, the power of this mystic fire surpassed that of a nuclear bomb. If she killed Dongfang Bingling now, Barbie, her son, and young Dingtian would all die with her. Grand Elder Barbie was clearly aware of this point. Therefore, after going berserk, she quickly calmed down. Looking at Dongfang Bingling, who was as beautiful as a fairy, Grand Elder Barbie said slowly, "Miss, let's make a deal." Dongfang Bingling continued to communicate with the mystic fire, and did not reply. This million-spirit demonic fire is formed by the fiery energy of the entire Dongli grassland, and the millions of vengeful spirits. With this mystic fire, you can become the #1 expert in the world. Grand Elder Barbie said, "If you want this mystic fire, I'll give it to you. What I want is for my son to live another 100 years. Dongfang Bingling continued to devour the million-spirit demonic fire slowly, and did not reply. Barbie was furious. She took a deep breath and said, "You should still be a pure and flawless girl. How about this? After you devour and refine this mystic fire, you can immediately combine with my son. Then, you can use the yin-yang devouring mystic technique to transfer a portion of the mystic fire's energy into my son's body. You don't need a lot. Just 1% will do. The mirage fire that I devoured earlier allowed me to not age for 200 years. This is a real mystic fire. As long as 1% of its energy enters my son's body, it will be enough for him to live another 100 years. After hearing this, Yang Dingtian was instantly enraged. He looked at Barbie. Barbie continued, "What you've sacrificed is nothing more than an illusory purity. A woman as strong as you shouldn't care about such things at all. However, what you're getting is the chance to become the #1 expert in the world. How about it? Do you agree to this deal?" Then Barbie's face turned cold as she said, "My son is my one and only. In order for him to live forever, I'm willing to do anything. I've already caused the death of his father. Therefore, I want to make it up to him. In order for him to live forever, I'm willing to give up my life. Therefore, miss, if you don't agree to my terms, I'll kill you. Then, I'll wait for the mystic fire to go berserk and destroy this place. Everyone will perish together." Chapter 266. I'm going to count down from 5. Either you devour the mystic flame, and use the mystic devouring technique with my son, and transfer 1% of the mystic flame's energy to my son, so that he can live forever. Or I'll kill you and we'll all die together. What do you think? Then, Babai started to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The countdown ended. Babai raised her hand, and was about to strike down on Dongfang Bingling's head. Dongfang Bingling, who had her eyes closed, suddenly opened them. She looked at Babai and said slowly, "You have 2 choices. The first one is death. The second one is to use the yin-yang devouring technique with the man beside you to destroy my body, and give him 1% of the mystic flame's energy. Is that right?" Speaking of the man beside Babai, Dongfang Bingling quickly glanced at Yang Dingtian. Babai said, "That's right." Dongfang Bingling was in a life or death situation. She could either die, or she could give up her virginity in exchange for being invincible. The million-spirit demonic flame could be said to be the best in the world. After devouring so many mystic flames, Dongfang Bingling was confident that she could become the best in the world in the shortest time possible. However, the price was to give up her body. She had to give up her pure and flawless body. "Okay, I agree," Dongfang Bingling said. Yang Dingtian's expression changed drastically. He was not sure if he was disappointed or angry. He felt that he did not have any feelings for Dongfang Bingling. Instead, he was filled with hatred. Of course, there was also a trace of respect. However, when he heard that she had agreed to Babai's request, he was still angry and disappointed. In his heart, Dongfang Bingling should be extremely proud, and would rather die than submit. Although she was arrogant, selfish, and cold, she should be pure and flawless. However, now one should know that Babai's son was an old man on the verge of death. Yang Dingtian didn't know if this was because of a man's possessiveness, or because he was disappointed by a beautiful life. Barbie's eyes lit up when she heard the answer. She shrieked, "I don't believe you. Swear it on your sect, swear it on your father." Dongfang Bingling held the mystic flame that was full of vitality in her hands. Her eyes were filled with anger and unwillingness as she said, "I, Dongfang Bingling, swear that after I devour the million spirits demonic flame, I will." "What is your name?" "Foxman race Barbie. Gather with the man beside Babai of the Foxman race, and offer him my pure body. Also, use the yin-yang devour Xian great technique to transfer a portion of my Xian qi into his body. If I go back on my words, let my yin-yang school's 100 years of foundation, and yin-yang school's 1,000 years of foundation, be destroyed by my hands. Let my yin-yang school's ancestors not rest in peace in the afterlife." Dongfang Bingling said word by word as she swore an extremely cold oath. Yang Dingtian's heart couldn't help but tremble when he heard Dongfang Bingling's oath. How cruel was this oath? However, Babai sneered when she heard it. "This isn't right, Miss Dongfang. In the oath, you said the man beside me. Right now, I have 2 men beside me. One is my son, and the other is Shenlang. You're playing tricks." Dongfang Bingling's expression changed when she heard this. It was obvious that Dongfang Bingling had purposely left this flaw behind. However, she didn't expect Babai to see through it. Even young Dingtian didn't notice this flaw. If Babai didn't notice this flaw, then when Dongfang Bingling fulfilled her promise, that man could very well be him. Young Dingtian's heart was filled with complicated emotions. He didn't know if it was a wave of ripples or a wave of anger. However, it was useless now because Babai had already discovered this flaw. Babai continued, "So, I'll have to trouble Miss Dongfang to swear the oath again. You have to clearly state that the man is my son. You have to hurry. There's not much time left." Dongfang Bingling immediately said coldly, "Then, may I ask if the one on the left is your son or the one on the right?" Yang Dingtian was on Babai's left, and the boastful son was on Babai's right. "Of course, the one on the right," Babai said. Dongfang Bingling swore the oath again and said word by word, "I, Dongfang Bingling, swear that after I devour the million-spirit demon fire, I'll copulate with the son standing on the right of Babai of the Foxman race. I'll offer my pure body to him, and use the mysterious devouring great art to transfer a portion of my mystic chi into his body. If I go back on my word, then I'll let my Yinyang school's 100 years of foundation, and the Yinyang school's 1,000 years of foundation be destroyed by my hands. I'll let my Yinyang school's ancestors never rest in peace." After she finished speaking, Dongfang Bingling's face was already ice cold. She said coldly, "Are you satisfied now?" "I'm satisfied." Babai laughed and said, "Fairy Dongfang, you can start devouring the mystic flame." After she finished speaking, Babai removed her palm from Dongfang Bingling's head and took a few steps back. Dongfang Bingling held the mystic flame with both of her hands and gradually approached it. Her beautiful eyes were fixed on this mystic flame. Suddenly, Dongfang Bingling's beautiful eyes widened. She took a deep breath with her nose and mouth. It was as if she was going to swallow the mystic flame into her stomach. At the same time, the mystic flame suddenly exploded with countless beautiful rays of light. Like a blooming flower, it enveloped Dongfang Bingling completely. Instantly, Dongfang Bingling's beautiful body disappeared from Yang Dingtian's vision. She was completely surrounded by countless rays of mystic flame. Swish, 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 swish. Immediately after, the rays of mystic flame turned into countless illusions. Every illusion was a stunning beauty. They looked exactly the same as Dongfang Bingling. Every illusion of Dongfang Bingling was formed by the rays of mystic flame. For a moment, countless Dongfang Bingling crazily rushed into Dongfang Bingling's body. Young Dingtian would never forget this scene. Countless shadows of Dongfang Bingling were dancing and revolving in the air. This scene was breathtaking, bewitching, resplendent, and bizarre. This breathtaking scene lasted for 3 minutes. Finally, everything gradually returned to normal. All the lights and shadows dispersed, revealing Dongfang Bingling, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground. At this moment, Dongfang Bingling's exposed skin was similar to the previous sacrificial offering. It was as though it was completely transparent. Her beautiful eyes were originally bright and piercing. Now they were even more piercing. So much so that young Dingtian could faintly see a weak flame burning on her lower abdomen. At this moment, Dongfang Bingling had completely devoured the million-spirit demon flame. What was left was to refine it. The entire refining process of the mystic flame might take half a month or even longer. Of course, Yen Biaqin only lasted for less than half an hour. Firstly, it was just the mirage void flame. Secondly, even if it was the real mystic flame, the first half of the refining process could be completed in half an hour. After that, it would become slower and slower. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.